Welcome to the Stretch Run. I'm Oldy, and that empty chair that now has a head in it is Chris Walsh. Chris, welcome.
Hey, Oldy, how you doing? Happy Pegasus Day to everybody. Thanks for joining. We've got some pretty good racing here the rest of the afternoon.
And welcome to the Railbird. We almost had somebody go over the rail at Gulfstream earlier today.
Mm-hmm. Welcome, Riddler. Welcome, Brewgrass Stan. Thanks for joining. We'll see if we can find some winners today.
And, I think if we want to dive straight into the Pegasus late pick all stakes late pick 5 here, and then we have racing with Bruno coming up at 3:20. So welcome everybody. Let's see about getting the show on the road. If that's all right with you, Chris.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So my late pick 5 spent a little more than I wanted here. Mainly because I ended up defensively using National Treasure in the last race, because if I get there and I get a couple prices and I get Didia, who's my single home, this could still really pay. But to me, National Treasure needs to lead it, isn't going to get it. And we've seen we've seen the whole, well, we think he can rate and then he doesn't rate successfully story before with National Treasure, and also tends to break slow as well. So,
sorry, did you say you're going to single Didia?
Yes.
Awesome, because we had not talked all week about that, and that's where I was going to.
By far the best horse in that race.
Yeah.
The one of the things, and I had a note in the system that the system always, for some reason, hates Didia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's the long shot. It's also top SOR, tied for top SOR, which is one of my angles. That's over 30% because I talk about it every time we're on the show and one of these things comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just is a better horse than, and faced better. Has a win against 80s. I don't really think that this is a 78. Fluffy Socks is a money burner. The favorite here was nonsensical to me. This lightly raced horse coming from Europe. So, I just thought this looked like Didia all day.
Yeah, lots of yellow there. There's a lot to like. The horse should be a little bit better this time out, I think, and that's a good spot to plant a flag in.
Well, and I don't think it lost the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf because because of a layoff or anything like that. I just think it was in too tough there. And that's the way it is. I will point out here, I did not use Cairo Consort, but Cairo Consort is your top pick at 15-1 on the morning line. Cairo Consort's just the type of horse the system always loves, but seems to never get there.
Yeah, and you've got Ryan Moore and Todd Pletcher teaming up there. That one is certainly something that you can do with some verticals there. Ruby Nell, like Mandela's shipping to Gulfstream for the first time in, I don't know, 35 years or whatever it is. And then, you got Jose on Didia. It's Sister Luann and Mission of Joy, like you mentioned, Fluffy Socks. Brittany Russell, I think, is up against it. Sherry DeVoe, I think, is up against it as well. Even though, you got Sias on that horse, and it's a shorter price one as well.
And I do think there's a lot of speed here, and I think that Didia could get the perfect setup here. Not that Didia needs the perfect setup.
No, but the
yeah,
setup helps, right? Because
yeah,
we kind of saw that in the last race where they went too fast, and that allowed Irad to come
yeah,
running on in. It's amazing that F5 just kept running. I mean, it almost ran second, 2
yep.
miles.
Hello, the traveler. Welcome. All right. So leg one, a lot of people are just using the 3 and the 9 here. I talked about this with Bluegrass Dan, and then said, no, I'm not. I think this is a turf horse. I'm not going to use this horse. But it is only 7 furlongs. The 7 has a big pace advantage here, is extremely fast, and could potentially steal this on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the 1 Bluefield some, the long shot. It is Safi, and he doesn't. I know he won a race, but he doesn't win uh, on Pegasus Day. But I think Bluefield has a good shot. Just missed in a Grade 3. Um, being down on the inside in a one turn at Gulfstream, is where you want to be. I think that also upgrades Intrepid Daydream over Mary Quite Contrary too. Is the
Sure.
post positions and Panici on the 9. But
Yep.
a couple chalks, a couple prices there. Leg 3, as I'm keeping an eye on the clock here. Leg 3, Hijazi. I had heard Hijazi might scratch, then the horse didn't. I don't know if that means the horse is not healthy. I tossed the 12 because it's 1 turn, and this is the case in race 13 too. It's Gulfstream, and those wide posts don't win on the dirt.
No, at a mile though, is that okay, or is that just
No,
like the mile
no,
in the
that's
eighth? I
considered
mean,
that's a mile's considered a sprint in the post position data, but even going 2 turns, it's bad. It's not
no.
as bad, but it's bad. Um,
Yeah.
the 8 could run back to some of this graded stakes form. I would toss the last one uh, in the Cigar Mile, but I didn't love the 8 as the second choice, but again could run back to the form. I thought the 11, again, wide post, long shot, used it. Probably should have just went 1 and 8, but um, did win the Ellis Park Derby going a mile. Um, has run well at a mile. It is an Oscar performance, and it's a long shot at a price. So, those are the 3 horses I used there. I think Hijazi probably wins this race, though,
You
if
think so?
healthy. If healthy.
Yeah, I like the 8 there. I mean, you're getting decent value. You get Irad. I mean, what do you think of Cyclone Mischief there in that race?
I hated Cyclone Mischief last year. I hate Cyclone Mischief now. Um, this horse just isn't that good,
Mm-hmm.
would be my answer. And, needs to be up and on the lead and really isn't fast enough here.
Yeah, and like you said, if you're going to throw Signator out because of the post, you got to throw out the 11
Yeah,
Chumbawamba too. I mean, right? I mean, you get knocked down, you get back up again,
up again.
but you're,
But you
you're
don't
still,
get home. You're right.
yeah, you don't get home, and that's the problem.
Um, you know, Gilmore's a little interesting to me as well. Somebody to uh, another price to keep an eye on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I heard in another chat that a lot of people are single to Warm Heart here.
To Warm Heart.
The 9 in race 12.
Yeah, that's one that I was looking at a double with, just
Uh,
taking that one to first mission in the last is one of my options there, but I don't know. I've kind of cooled on that a bit, but you can't discount the connections there
yes.
for sure.
I will tell you, I watched a lot of video on this horse. Um, and I'm not sure though it's the same horse
Hmm.
based on what I'm seeing. Um, I'll say that the pace number is wrong here. It being a European horse, it's not that surprising. Pace number is wrong here. This horse is usually within about 2 or 3 lengths of the lead, and this race is probably going to go too fast, which is what happened in the when this horse was the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Turf,
Yeah.
and the other, I believe it was the other, Aidan O'Brien won that race. So, um, I do think there's some warts there. Maybe this horse isn't already through, but if that horse doesn't win, integration looks very strong. Watched a lot of video, watched all 3 of those races. Does have a tendency to turn its head to the side in the stretch and lose a little bit of focus. So that's a possibility. Um, I also, for my cross country, I did not use Masterpiece, but I used Masterpiece here in case everything breaks down. I also thought Main Event, who won the Fort Lauderdale at this distance, has a chance to go gate to wire if the pace number's right. Last
Yeah.
year's winner, Atone, is in poor form. Um, and then I like the long shot a little bit here, Web Slinger. Nearly won a grade 1 against similar at this distance at Del Mar. Nearly wins a lot of the times that's the problem. But if this does end up going fast, Webslinger is going to get first run ahead of Masterpiece, and probably
Sure.
is a better horse. And you're getting 15-1 on the morning line there.
All right, we're at 0
Right.
minutes to post. They're still they're heading towards the gate. Who's your top pick here, Oldie, in race 9?
My top pick is First Mission. Um, I have a note back from when First Mission won the Lexington that this might be Cox's best 3-year-old. Was going to be the favorite in the Preakness that National Treasure won, but
Yeah.
ended up getting it.
So that horse is not in race 9.
I'm sorry, race 9. Sorry,
Yeah.
I heard what's in race 9. I'm going to go with the 3.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you there. That if you just as a heads
Play a
up,
straight 3-9
the
double there.
3-9 double is paying $24. So
Okay, yeah, that's worth one.
yeah, put a few $10
But,
for things 240 there.
In the Pegasus, First Mission's my first choice. I did spread there.
Yeah.
But that's. I mean, you could almost play a double here without the 9 and just play the 1, 3, and 7 to the 9 in the next.
Mm-hmm.
And any one of those is going to pay. I'll play it for $5 like a golden hour double there. All right, let's see where we are here. Do I have time to finish talking? Probably not.
You never
There we
have.
go. And then, guys, we have Bruno coming up after this. I got to actually send him a text message and just remind him here.
All right, Oldie. They're
All right, we're going to share the screen. We're going to get the sound on here. Here we go.
they're thinking about getting into the starting gate. Meanwhile, who do we got here? We have to say hello to Alan Hancock, Scott, Tony, Steve, the Traveler. Welcome. Railbird. We'll see what we get here. Tony likes IRAD on the 10 here. 1.5 million in the pick 5 pool. That's nice and juicy. The Traveler, are you one of those sovereign citizen kind of dudes? That's the name of the traveler. I'm just traveling. I watch a lot of those videos. Yeah, I find them quite entertaining. Art, yes, hit the like button. I agree. Log out, log in with somebody else's name, and hit it again.
And then go to Twitter and hit the like there as well and retweet it for us.
Absolutely.
Late Pick 5 pool on its way to $1.7 million. This is an all-stakes Late Pick 5. 3 of the 5 races, of course, Pegasus World Cup races. We
They only guaranteed
right
750 for this. So
information.
They're doing well.
Mare,
it always cracks me up when it's all stakes. Like, that matters. It could be all stakes and the races could suck.
A lot of times those all stakes end up very chalky.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the last Breeders' Cup. Chalk, chalk, chalk.
It was the last Breeders' Cup.
It was. It was like one price, I think.
Yep. In the turf sprint.
Traveler was Robert E. Lee's horse, too. Wasn't that Lone Ranger? It wasn't Traveler? Or was that Will Rogers? Will Rogers.
I know the horse in Animal House, Niedermeyer's horse, was Trooper.
Well, of course you would know everything about Animal House because you were the main editor of the Wikipedia page there.
Yes, me and all my sick Delta buddies.
Mm-hmm. All right, they want this thing to try and get to 2 million. They just might as well say, "Hey, we're not going to get in the gate till it's 2 million."
Yes.
Trigger.
Give us your money now.
Kevin, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Mr. Ad, yes.
Wiz, I know you're out there too. What's your bourbon of choice this afternoon, Wiz?
It's now post time for the 45th edition of the Inside Information Stakes presented by Don Julio Tequila.
Secret probation. Wow.
Field of 10 travels 7 furlongs over the fast main track. This Late Pick 5 is massive. It's $1.8 million.
Let's go, Chuck.
Hey, Chuck. Hope you're doing well. Looking forward to seeing you when you eventually get down here.
Into the gate goes Bluefield. 2 item savers ready. Mare, quite contrary, walking forward. Now Music City Stars in line, so just waiting for Olivia Darling to take the outside. 7 furlongs.
You're on the 3 here, Wiz.
They're in the gate.
So you're chatting and you're riding a horse?
They're racing in the Inside Information Stakes. Slow start at the back for Dreamster. Quick break in the middle for Sassy Nature, who's ridden for the early lead. Olivia Darling comes away in second. They've gone 2 ahead of Music City Star. She's now third. Gerrymander outsprinted in the early stages here, moving between horses. That's Intrepid Daydream. At the rail goes Bluefield. 2 item saver works between horses. Mare, quite contrary, settles in third last. She's got pace ahead of her. Second last is Dreamster, and the trailer is She's Out of Here. They went 22-1 for the opening quarter. They have half a mile to go. Sassy Nature has the lead by a length. Olivia Darling on the outside toward the inside Music City Star. Into the clear comes Intrepid Daydream. She's within 3 lengths of the lead and tightening in. Another length and a half back to the rail in Bluefield. Mare, quite contrary, hasn't gone yet. In fact, she's second last while ridden by Panici. She's got an awful lot to do trying to get underway as they run to the top of the stretch. Olivia Darling has the lead from the outside. Here's Intrepid Daydream. Now Mare, quite contrary, starts to hit high gear. She's in the orange colors on the far outside. Off the turn and the stretch drive. The leader is Olivia Darling, a length and a half. Intrepid Daydream trying to get on terms. Bluefield closing at them from the outside, and Mare, quite contrary. She just has too far to come. There's a 16th to go. Irad Ortiz Jr. will get victory 5 on the program. The Inside Information to Olivia Darling.
Tony, good call.
Olivia Darling beats Bluefield by 2. Back to third was Mare, quite contrary. She just didn't fire that late punch today. She had to settle for third and 123 flat.
Let's give Tony a boom here. All right, let's welcome in Bruno here. Let me get Tony's boom off the screen. Welcome, Bruno. Can you hear us okay?
I'm just watching the gallop out here in this Gulfstream Race 9, where the 10 horse Olivia Darling for Jorge Delgado gets the job done. Bluefield ran second, a couple of price horses here.
Yeah, we liked Bluefield there. We did not have the 10, but one of our regular viewers and EquinEdge users, Tony, actually singled the 10 there in the
Good
pick
for
six.
him. Good job.
$2 million wagered.
And that's the way to do it.
And
And
the
that's
first leg winner is a 7-1 shot.
and
10, Olivia Darling.
and that's the way to do it. You know, when you're playing the pick 5, you wanna find in that first leg a horse you can use at a price, because you're gonna knock out 80% of the tickets.
Yep.
So yeah, good job to your caller on the 10.
Congratulations, Tony. So Bruno and I were talking this morning, and we were talking a little bit about, Bruno, how to get started with handicapping and watching videos and stuff like that. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the KentuckyBred.org system and making those videos available to people?
Well, we started about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, and we started filming. I bought 2, cameras that could offer a good quality for what we were trying to do. And we were filming Churchill and Keeneland because there is no workout videos from the Kentucky tracks. XBTV handles Florida and some New York. Yeah. But the one thing that I wanted to do is to be able to get it out there and put it out there for fans to be able to get an idea of there is. Let me start at the beginning. I became a much better, a complete handicapper when I started learning about individual horses. Looking at individual horses instead of going and angles. Oh, speed and fade, or this, or, he showed speed and tires. He'll improve next time out. I wanted to find out what it was about each individual horse that I could, just like I would know you, Mike, and Chris, I would know you individually. I wouldn't know you as a person, or
right.
Just a people. You have a name, you have your own history, you have your own way you do things. So I wanted to take that and do that with the horses. And this started a long time ago. Actually, it started in 1988 on the infield at Del Mar. And I thought, wow, I would really love to find out about how these horses are training. And I remember I bought a workout report, and I swear it was in Chinese. It was the most convoluted dribble I've ever read in my life. It didn't mean anything. It didn't say anything. It had these grades on it, and I was okay, And later I got involved with a couple of publications. One of them was, probably don't remember, this is way before y'all's time. It's called Fig Form, and it was a numbers. It was all about numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a gentleman, Daryl Rader, that was doing the workout report for us, and I loved it. He was smart. He did it correctly. So he did it. He only had a few horses a day, but I was intrigued by it. And I remember I asked him one day, I was at Fairplex Park, the old Fairplex Park. And I said, hey, Daryl, I'd love for you to teach me this. And he said, I'm not going to teach you because I'm not going to tell you everything I know. So I knew right there and then that it was going to be up to me to go out there and do it. I met with a trainer. I was friendly with a trainer. I spent a lot of mornings, almost every morning on the backstretch. I would get there before he did, and I would feel horses' legs, and I would, I remember when I felt a tendon notch on a horse, and I turned to the trainer and I said, "Hey, Jack, this horse got a notch on his tendon." And I remember he went lily white, and sure enough, the horse had a bowed tendon. He would go to the track with me, and we would sit there and clock horses that he had training. And one item I remember specifically, we're at Santa Anita, and he had a $10,000 claimer. And coming down the lane, Jack just stood up. He said he's bleeding. And I remember watching the horse, the way he was just moving down the lane, and he was more the head was going up. He was more up and down. And I never forgot that. And I always had the talent that I could watch horses come off the track, because he had that first stalls area that he trained, that he had his horses right on the corner, right by the gap at Santa Anita. It's the break ones. So we would be able to watch all these horses come off the gap. And I could pick out Snow Chief, Ferdinand, old Mesh Tennies, old Olden Times, I think it was old something. But anyway, fairly old. I would recognize all these horses, and he goes, "You need to be clocking." So about 1991, I actually started clocking. I cashed a big bet on the first horse that I liked in the morning. So it was off to the races. I did charts for racing times, workout reports for the racing times, later with today's Racing Digest, and so on. But the one thing I wanted always to learn about was the horse. And if for anybody that's really interested in the game, if you're a speed figure guy, if you're a trip replay handicapper, you have to understand what you're looking at. And looking at horses, they're not numbers. They are flesh and blood beings that you can tell if they're going on or off form. One of the things I used to do all the trip notes for the racing times. And I would watch the head-on. A lot of handicappers don't even know the head-on exists. And I would watch the head-on, and I would see a horse that was really good form. And in the last race, he started showing that he was drifting. When they started to drift, I would note it, and I noticed that horses go off form when they show that particular factor or that particular trait in one of their races. I hate when a horse starts drifting. Case in point, even when they have the wobbles. I was at Churchill the last time McLean's Music worked. McLean's Music was a horse that went 14 and change first time out, had a 114 buyer at Santa Anita. He had a splint bone problem, which is it's a bone that horses don't use anymore. But when it's inflamed, that inflames the suspensory ligaments, so it creates a lot of irritation in a horse's leg.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you got to take them out. Sometimes you just let them heal. Well, he was working one morning, and he worked a minute, but you could see him down the lane. He's wobbling. It's like Weeble's wobble, that move. Yeah. And I remember looking over at my partner and going, "He's done. He's done." And he was. So little things like that the regular player doesn't see. But if you do it enough times and you watch these horses and I go to the sales, I buy my own horses, I watch the way they're built, you start picking up things. And that's how you become better at it and more complete, because looking at the animal is the last frontier for any handicapper.
You're muted, Chris. You're still muted. But in the meantime, Bruno, I want to share something. I think Chuck Brower.
I'm sorry, say it again. Who?
I think you know Chuck Brower.
Yeah, I know Chuck very well. Yes.
So he just chimed in the chat saying three things you need in this game: EquinEdge, Bruno with the works, and a bankroll.
That's it.
The bankroll is the most important one.
Yeah.
And by the way, hi Chris. Nicely put a face to the name.
Yeah, Bruno. I wanted to ask you, all that info that you were just given back in the day, that's about the time your book came out, right? With the works?
2005, yes.
Okay. That, if you guys can get a hold of that book, it is gold. There's tons of great info in there where he goes over with a fine-tooth comb how to put these puzzles together from the morning to the afternoon. So
they can find it on Amazon. I sold out. I mean,
know.
I completely sold out of every book that I had. But they can go to Amazon and find it. It's not through me, but they can find it. And I think they'll find it useful. It's a little outdated. I did it 18 years ago. Seems like yesterday. You know. By the way, guys, we had this huge party right at Del Mar. It was Del Mar season, and I released the book in July. We had a huge party, and we rented Zbika's downtown, right by Jimmy O's, where Jimmy O's used to be, downtown Del Mar. So I told Dan Zbika, the owner, I said, we're going to about 50 people. So I had to pay him, you know. We ended up having 500, you know. There was a line out the door, and it was fantastic. It was so much fun. I don't remember much of the night. I don't think I ate a single thing. I think I had one drink, but it was fantastic, and we had a great time. So walking out, I go to Jimmy O's with two of my buddies, right? And this drunk guy comes up to me. He used to come up to the stairs and clock with me in the morning. It was a pain in the ass. Oh, pardon me for saying that. But he comes up to me. He comes up to me in Jimmy O's. I'm tired. I've had a long day. It's been fun. I'm a little bit on, how do I put it, adrenaline going. And he says to me, there is no effing way you wrote that book. And I looked at him like, what are you talking about? I spent, 4 months of my life writing that book. Didn't do anything but that book. He goes, no way you wrote it. You're not smart enough to write it. I started to go after him. My boys had to hold me back, and it was the funniest thing. The guy was drunk off his tail, and I never forgot that, that here's a guy who decided that he was going to just be, a Richard on probably one of the most fun days I had at the track.
I've probably read that book 20 times over the years. And every time I do pick up and read a passage out of it, in my head, it's in your voice. So that's how I know you wrote it, because the words that are in there are exactly how you would read it to somebody if you were just kind of reciting it. So
let me tell you one little piece on that. Remember, the section on day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me tell you how that happened. So I'm talking to a friend of mine, Steve Shapiro, and he calls me up, and I'm in the middle of doing the book, and he goes, "They like a horse today." And I said, "Who is they?" And he goes, "They like a horse. I heard that they like the certain horse." And I said, "Do they have a number?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "If I call Hollywood Park and ask for they, would they transfer me?" And we started laughing. And I am writing this as I'm talking to him. So I am writing, for example, if I call, what if they answer? What do I ask them? Who do you like today? Or do I say who they like today? And he started laughing about it. And we went back and forth. Like you always hear also, well, he beat nobody. And I'll give you a story with that. Track Phantom that just won the Lecomte. He won the Gun Runner impressively as well. Really, really good horse. He's not getting any respect. He's like the Rodney Dangerfield, of racing. Yeah. They're betting, so they want to know. So a guy calls me up, says, "Bruno, I want to know." He's from New York. "I want to know, what do you think of this Track Phantom? I don't think he beat nobody, And I go, well, he beat Nash, who ended up being favorite. He beat a horse that he beat in the maiden long that's pretty good, that I know pretty well. I think he beat a really representative field." He says, "Well, I like that other Asmussen." And I said, "What other Asmussen?" It's All of Fame. He goes, "All of Fame. He looked really good doing it." I said, "Wait a minute. You're going to sit there and tell me that you don't know what was behind Track Phantom in a graded stakes, but you're going to come to me and tell me that the other Asmussen, who beat a bad flame away baby, by 4 or 5 lengths in a maiden race to be better?" I said, "You're not making any sense." But so who did he beat? He beat nobody. Nobody has run through a lot of seconds to a lot of good horses, you know? And here's the other part of it. It was like, somebody has to be trained nobody. Who trains nobody? Somebody has to train them, you know? And it became such a skit that day that ended up writing it as I was talking to him on the phone. So when you read that section again, understand that was done on the moment while on the phone with this individual, Steve Shapiro. And it was one of the part of the books that I loved the most because it was so off the cuff, you know, that nobody knows about that story.
You know, one of the things that people ask us a lot, like, you know, what workout stuff we used, and we always tell them we defer to you, to the Bruno reports. But tell us that, you know, why sometimes people, I think, get a little worked up. I've seen it on Twitter and whatnot, where, you know, you'll have a race where you've got a couple of 2 or 3 star works, and then there'll be a 4-star work. And the 4-star workhorse doesn't win, and they're like, see, it's not all that useful or whatnot. And I try and take the position with people.
Let me tell you straight out. People who think like that, they're losers. They're absolutely losers because they all want that little shiny, shiny moment. Oh yeah, you had a 4-star work. That means the horse that did something well. Now, I liked it. I liked the way he did it. You know, but then you always got to look and see what I do in the suggestion and the handicapping suggested selection, because I will have a horse that I really like in his works, but then I'm handicapping a race. My horse is going to win. There's 4 other speed horses in the field, or he drew the far outside on a track that plays to the inside. So what I've learned is I've gone back and, you know, once I give my ratings before I do my handicap, I go through my ratings again. And if I think a 4-star work is really up against it, I've learned to scale it down because he is up against it. So I am using some handicapping involved. But I'm going to tell you something, guys. And this is where a lot of horse players really drop the ball. You got a horse that had a 4-star work in a maiden, and he doesn't run well. They chuck him. Oh, wow, he was no good. Everybody liked him, left him out. Blah, 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 blah. What happens? Next time out, he's 12-1, and he whistles on him with no works out to be seen because he was all fit, and he had shown it before he started first time out, and boom, he fires and pays $25. Those same players who are knocking me, you can't find them because they don't even have a clue that was the horse they were knocking me about. Let me give you another case example. You know, some of my biggest gambling feats has been with horses that I saw do something 3 months ago, 4 months ago. There was a horse that I remember 2012, January 2012 at Gulfstream. It was the first time starter for Wayne Catalano named Gentleman's Bet. And he was in a race with Pletcher and Chad Brown. And that was our first year really clocking at Gulfstream. The horse had a couple of 48s out of the gate. I kept looking at it, and I'm like, I know this horse. I went back and looked. I had a work at Keeneland in October of the year prior, in 2011. The horse went 32-4 and 44 flat out of the gate. 32-4, 44 flat. And came back and worked 59 at Churchill the day after the 2011 Breeders' Cup. So it was a Sunday. He worked out of the gate and worked 59 flat. Those are huge numbers. But because they happened so far back, everybody's looking at what he did yesterday. So we go and sit in the paddock, and the horse opens up at 18. I see DRF Welsh walking around doing his usual, who do you like, in the paddock. You know, I notice people walking around, and I'm looking at the board. The horse is going 22, 27, 29. He settles at 37-1. And I remember I was with Molly Jo Rosen at the time, and I looked at her. I said, I can't bet enough money on this horse. And Joe Rocco was on him. And she goes, are you going to play Exactus too? I said, yeah. There was a 90-1 shot with David Brady, trainer, who was like over since the glacial age, you know. So I used that. I think I used like $150 Exactus on top of the 3 horses that I thought, and I used it on top of the 90-1 too. Well, Joe Rocco and Gentleman's Bet go off at 37-1. Open up right out of the gate. I think he was the 7 horse. By the time they turn for home, he's 5 in front. He wins by 7, gear down. And here comes my 90-1, trying to get by the tiring pace setter, right? That was inside. That got blown up by Gentleman's Bet. He gets nosed out. The 90-1 gets nosed out. They would still be paying me today if that 90-1 had gotten up for second, because that would have paid what, about $2,000 for the exacta.
My best example, Bruno, of what you just laid out about horses with recent form in big races was in the Breeders' Cup, where the Smiling Tiger and Ria Antonio exacta. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They took Smiling Tiger down.
Yeah.
They put Ria up. I don't know, what was she, about 45-1 or something that day?
Right.
It was just huge. I had gone with my wife and when my in-laws, and just, when they give you money in wrappers, it's even better.
Oh yeah. Oh, and you're right. When if you can come up with a horse that, all these clocker reports, they crack me up. Especially at Saratoga, there's so much BS in a lot of those. What I love is when I have a horse on my watch in 45-4. Oh, but I'll give you this story. It's 2016, I want to say. And there's a team out of the gate at Saratoga. And it's the horse named Squires Creek, not the one that's running now, but it was a big chestnut with a blaze, working with One Liner for Todd Pletcher. And I had him going 22 and change, 34 and change. Before they got to the half mile, Squires Creek breaks down. And I know the kid that's on him, and he's a wonderful kid. He ended up fracturing his vertebrae. Squires Creek was very unfortunate. He did not survive it. But One Liner went on to work 59 flat. So, and I knew who the horses were because I had seen them train. They were both first-time starters for Todd Pletcher. Well, the tab comes out, and in fine form, the Naira Clockers have Squires Creek 47-32, One Liner 47-45, because that's manipulating the rankings. So when you manipulate the rankings with the 100s, you can put a horse that got beat and put him with a faster 100, and he'll get a higher ranking than the other horse.
Yep.
I laughed because, I know that horse. I even got into it, one of the clockers. I said, that horse didn't even go half a mile, and you put him on the tab. You made a dead horse a best of a team. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 weeks later, One Liner debuts, goes off at 7-2, and parks on the field and wins.
Yep.
And pays $9. One Liner went on to win the Southwest. He was the stakes winner for Todd Pletcher. Yeah. But little things like that sometimes you don't even see in the workout reports because they won't put it in there for you. There it's all about them first and you later. I've always felt that I gave my own horse. I gave my own horse good works in November. Officer Quigley, who's undefeated, he's 2 for 2. My own horse. Yeah. I wrote the workouts just like I saw him. He still went off and paid $20.
Mm-hmm. I will say we all know to pay attention when you give one of your horses a good work.
Yeah. Well, we got a minute to go here.
Secret? Let me tell you the secret with it. Look for a tag with it. So, for example, if I'm riding a horse and he worked okay, I give him a 3 stars. Mike Oldham with Chris Welsh from the gate. They go 23, 35, 46-4, out in a minute 2. That's it.
Yeah.
3 stars.
Yeah.
But I come back for Chris and I write, I've seen this one a few times. I like what I'm seeing. Worked with Mike Oldham, give him all the splits. And after I put the a minute flat, Chris at tons left. That's when you want to pay attention.
That's right.
because I'm
Yeah.
tagging you and telling you a little bit extra more on why I like that horse.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, we got about 0 minutes to post here to Gulfstream Race 10. So let's just go over a race real quick here. This is one where I think we all sort of line up
I'll
here.
tell you right now, I love the 9 Didia. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm betting Didia. I love Didia in here. I thought she had a phenomenal year last year. She should have won that race in New York when she ran second to market segmentation, who walked on the front end. But I really like Didia in here, and I'm betting her to win. And I'm trying to figure out if I got enough time to bet an exacta. I think I do.
We also both love Didia here.
Yes.
Not to scare you away. For whatever reason, the E system has always been low on Didia on the win percentage line, but it is our long shot. It's also top in strength of race, and when those two things line up in a race, they win it over 30% of the time. You know, big fan of Didia. A horse I singled on, I believe it was on Derby Day, and just a horse I think the world of. I always say don't get emotionally attached to horses when you're betting, but we all make those mistakes.
Yeah, you should only do
Do that when
emotionally
you like a horse. Do that
Yeah.
when you like a
Yeah.
horse.
The Chosen Vron is an example. Everybody who knows me knows the Chosen Vron's my favorite horse and has been for several years, but is also a horse that always delivers pretty much. Other than the Breeders' Cup Sprint, where anybody with who had watched the races knew that that horse was up against it a little bit there.
Yeah.
Well,
One thing.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Chris Laramie has a good saying: is don't fall in love with a horse, fall in love with a bet, right? Because find your price, find what you're looking to get out of when using particular horses, either at the win bet or exactas or doubles or pick threes or whatnot. But do like Tony did in that race before at Gulfstream, single the price. Singling the chalk in multi-race wagers, unless you're playing it for way over base, is highly overrated.
Well,
it is. But I will tell you, when you put your tickets together, the first leg you always got to look for a price. However, if there's, like, for example, when the big filly for Jerry Hollendorfer ran at Saratoga, the good one, I can't remember her name right now. Jeez.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. So there was a pick 4 sequence, and I blew my pick 5. I started the pick 4 with a price, and it hit. I had a 20-1 shot that I liked, and I used 4 horses, and I hit there. So I came up to the race. The Hollendorfer won, as it should, and then I got a 20-1 to win the last leg. I hit the pick. I hit the pick 4 for 23,000 that day. So sometimes just throwing chalk out to throw chalk out when they are logical and they are most likely going to win is handy. It's bankroll suicide. Because I hit with Zenyatta. Zenyatta won. I think was in the Santa Margarita in March of 2019. I hit her. It got me a pick 4 for $1,400 because I played it right with the horses that I had. I handicapped it right, and I knew I had a shot. So little things like that. Handicappers throwing out chalk because it's chalk. It's just they're just committing suicide.
No, but I mean, you can't. You don't on the flip side of that, you also don't want to be just add the favorite, the second choice to every leg just because you're afraid to get beat or you want to get through the sequence or whatever the case may be. You have to make decisions from time to time.
Great point.
And realize, okay, if this is a pick 5 on a Wednesday at Gulfstream where everybody thinks it's chalky, and you use 3 chalks and you single those and you go a little deeper on the other 2 and play it for $3 or $4. Well, now the $80 it's going to pay for 50 cents is going to get you 500 back. That's really the name of the game.
I looked as I've become to where I'll play pick 4s and pick 5s, but it has to be where I have an advantage, and 2, I will smash exactas. For example, like here, I think Ruby Nell to me is too short. We had this filly showing a lot of rankness in her works coming up into this race. But she'll show enough speed that it's going to help Didia along. I used the 1 Caro Consort I used. I did not use the 4-star Fortress. I used Fluffy Socks, and I used Mission of Joy and Queen Goddess. So I went for the smash there on the Exacta, and I smashed that essential quality to Hot Rod Charlie in the Breeders' Cup in 2019. And sorry, 2020 at Keeneland. I think I bet a $200 Exacta, and the Exacta came back $200 for each dollar. So I'll let you do the math, but you know, and that was the story in itself of how I came up with Hot Rod Charlie. That it was before Hot Rod Charlie was Hot Rod Charlie.
Oldy, pull up the video. They're getting ready to go.
Yeah, we're going in the gate here. There we go.
Presented with Accomplished Girl.
We get to show Bruno. We get to show Stronach Tracks and Woodbine.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sister Luann walking forward. And
the other ones,
yeah.
they all have copyright issues. So,
Mission of Joy.
That doesn't
Ruby
surprise
Nell.
me.
Yeah, and you don't,
Star
you never
Fortress.
realize, and I say you,
One more.
like me,
Surprisingly to
until
the
you
outside.
start asking about these things, just how complicated the
Renegade.
licensing is for, and how many hands there are.
And
for
they're
each
off
track.
in the Pegasus World Cup Filly and Mare Turf. Excellent beginning for Accomplished Girl.
All right, well,
who's
did
headed
you
off
have
for the early lead.
Didia within
In
a
traffic
length
at
of
the
the
break
lead
with
here?
Star Fortress. She shuffled back as Didia moves up on the outside to challenge for control. Queen Goddess is
I
off
love
the
that.
speed on a hold inside as Ruby
Love it.
Nell. Out in the center goes Sister Luann. Then Star Fortress racing together with a wide-running Mission of Joy. Looking for a spot to race and dropping over is Surprisingly. Then back to Chili Flag. Second last Fluffy Socks. The early trailer, Cairo Consort.
Not an
They
overly
complete the
quick
opening
pace
quarter
either.
in 24-4. It's a reasonable pace with Accomplished Girl the target. Latched on to her second is Didia.
I did not have Didia this close. I got to tell you.
Joint third.
But you know, it's a slow pace, so
Back for
Yeah.
their Mission of
Didia's
Joy.
not
Queen
actually
Goddess
going
got
that
shuffled
fast.
Back. Surprisingly, worked over to the rail from the 12 post. Then Star Fortress. Chili Flag is racing together with her barn buddy Fluffy Socks, and Cairo Consort is still last.
Guys, don't
Half
mistake
and
that when a
48
horse
and
gets
three
sharp,
as
there's
they
still
make
more
their way to
speed.
the far turn now. Didia's on the outside. Accomplished Girls along the rail. Their heads apart. At the inside, Ruby Nell waits her turn. Sister Luann's on her outside. Then it's Mission of Joy and Queen Goddess with Surprisingly. Star Fortress shown some open racetrack, and here she comes 4 wide. On her back is Fluffy Socks stuck in traffic. Chili Flag. They stack and pack with a quarter of a mile left to go.
Okay, now's the time to go.
Didia makes her bid for the lead. Inside Accomplished Girl. Loose is Sister Luann.
Come on,
Ruby Nell
girl.
is next. Down the center and Star
Come on,
Fortress.
girl.
There's an 8
Come on.
mile to go.
You got it.
Didia roused on the top end and trying to kick away. At the rail, it's Surprisingly who fires through and charges hard. Didia's almost there. Surprisingly's out of time. Didia wins the Pegasus World Cup Filly and Mare Turf. A half a length in the end from Surprisingly.
She was
second.
to me,
single
to me,
in the
she
pick
was
four,
just a
single in the pick
standout.
three, single in the double.
In 140.4.
Say that again.
Single in the pick 4, single in the pick 3. Not a base wager pick 3 either. I think I went. Hold on. I went. What was the base on this thing? Hold on.
I'm 9.
I was $2 or $3 on the $2 on the pick 3, and then $5 double.
Good job.
Didia all singled there.
I got
Yeah,
a
I
9.
loved her. I see. We had works on her from the little track at Keeneland on the synthetic, and she had a work that was pretty sharp. Where and yeah, she's just a trier. She wins every. She should have been undefeated last year, and the trip she got in the Breeders' Cup was brutal. She just never had a chance. So
I think that's why Jose is probably aboard today too.
Well, Jose got on, but you know what Jose did? He put her right in the race.
Yep.
When you got a sharp horse, you can do that. You got a sharp horse, they will outrun their pace figures. They will outrun what you think they're going to do. And that's why sometimes I get critical when handicappers say, well, this horse is going to go to the lead. Listen, if you do that, don't do that. Because if you start doing that, you're expecting horses, you're going to handicap horses the way you expect them to run. When you got a sharp horse and you go, oh, he's going to go to the lead. He's never going to look back. Guess what? He takes back third, goes around him, and he wins for fun. Yeah. So, you got to take a sharp horse and leave it at that and stop worrying about what the trip is going to be like.
Yep. You know,
Absolutely.
that is that I like to point out Cairo Consort again, poops the bed there, right?
And
So
I can't explain why the system loves that horse the way I love Didia, but there's something in the
The
data.
system is not wrong. The system
Yeah,
is
there's
not
something in
wrong.
the data that around that
It's in
horse.
the data. That
Yeah.
horse, Cairo Consort, last year at this time last year was an absolute terror. She
Mhm.
ran some monster races, and I'll tell you another one was Green Goddess, Queen
yeah,
Goddess.
Yeah.
Both of them showed that they're more winter horses than they are summer and fall horses. So I used them because they were big prices, but Didia to me was a complete and total standout.
Number
I
9,
made her my best
Didia
bet on the
first.
sheet.
Number 12, surprisingly
Oldie, pull up
second.
One
the
thing you'll learn
EquinEdge
about me,
Down.
screen.
Bruno, is I
Number
constantly
7, Fluffy Socks
forget to
fourth.
turn the
Number
sound off
11,
on
Mission
these
of Joy
feeds.
ran fifth.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
sorry, say that again.
I said I constantly forget to turn the sound off on the track feeds.
Oldie,
Uh,
pull up the EquinEdge page for that race.
all right, and I also want to, and this goes back to what Bruno was talking about before about horses with 4-star works or where there was an advantage and it didn't win. The notes function on here or in other systems as well, but anything that offers you a note function so you can see that. I tag these horses, whether it's on the horse to watch list, whether it's the hits a couple of my angles in terms of long shots and in the data so that I know next time out too that, well, just because this horse didn't run this time, there was something in the data last time or something, an advantage there. And, next time it pops up in a race, I'll get that flag that I have a note there.
Yeah, and
You know
this
why?
is
You know why, Mike and Chris, you guys are pros. Too many handicappers. If you go back and look at on social media, there's a lot of handicappers that basically get their information off social media, and that's mainstream media information. Everybody's got that.
yep,
What you guys need to have, and as a handicapper, if you want to succeed, you've got to have exclusive info or generate your own info. We at Racing with Bruno generate our own info. We have our own numbers, we have our own trip notes, we have our own workout reports. We don't rely on anything that's mainstream media outside. So if somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, well, DRF Welsh loves this horse," okay, great for him. I got my own stuff. I don't give a shit.
yeah.
So, but a lot of players do that and they get bamboozled by all this information that's overloading them. And then they get, well, who does the trainer like? Oh, I heard the trainer likes this horse. And so that adds even more to the confusion. That's the noise that handicappers need to move completely out of their handicapping. Take the noise out. Develop your own information. Generate your own info. Go to people that are not mainstream media. We don't put our stuff up there. You can't find anything that we put up on media. I'll put up works for you to make it. I'll put up the videos of the works for you to make your own mind up. But I don't write what I think. And I don't do that to be mean. I do that just so you have your own opinion.
Well,
And that's
and
important.
let
I
me
mean,
tell you, Bruno, Scotty feels the same. And I think Scotty's in the chat on the EquinEdge account right now. But he
Hey,
feels the
Scotty,
same
long
way.
time no talk.
We're not a tout service. We might give you some ideas, but and there's nothing wrong
But
with
Mike,
tout
wait,
services
stop
either.
right there. But stop
Yeah.
right there. It's okay if you are.
mhm.
It's
Right. There's
like
nothing
people get
wrong with it, but the system's
no.
not made to be that. It's made for you to be able to take Bruno's works and the information we have here and be able to take the information you have in your hands and be able to apply it and be better at not just finding a horse, but then constructing the bet properly, which
And
is a
the
large
constructing the
part.
bet properly is the most important thing out there. And for me, when I look at this race here and I look at the 9, which is the long shot, a horse that I already liked already, and I had handicapped this before, I had taken a look at anything that Bruno had put together, and I see that it's got that as a top pick. The works are good and whatnot. Those are things that line up on horses that I can use in a sequence or as a win bet or things like that that can make me more successful. And the EquinEdge pairing with those things, it works. There was one, Wednesday, was it, Oldy, or Thursday at Gulfstream?
Thursday.
That 7 horse, the horse to watch, was the longest shot in that short field. And it was also one that had good workouts too, right? It had everything in there you needed to win. And what did it pay? Like 8-1 or something like that?
Yeah, hold on. I'm pulling it up because I had it in the pick 3. I had win bets. I had all kinds of stuff to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was the 7. No, it's not Thursday. Was it Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. Then hold on, or I'm looking at the wrong race just off memory. Yeah, it was the 7 horse, no deliberation, and you'll see, for the people that can see my screen, you'll see horse to watch, and I also tagged it as horse for the course because the horse was 5 for 5 at the surface and distance, and was now 6 wins there, or I'm sorry, 2 for 2 at the surface and distance, and 5 for 5 at the surface. Because it had
3-star work too.
Yeah, and was 17% and was 9-1 and a horse to watch, and all those things line up. And when you can see all those things line up, and you're not going to win every time. It's betting, it's gambling. Sometimes you're going to lose. You have to understand that. But that doesn't mean that the way you're approaching it is wrong. It just means on that given day, luck didn't go your way. But if your process is correct and you build yourself a process that works, then you will improve what you're doing, and you will be able to take the strong opinions, because when you find the strong opinions that others don't see is where you have the opportunity to make money.
Well, and you know what you're doing right there is you're generating your own info. And
Right.
and listen, my quest started way back, and I was working as an investigator, but also I started out as an undercover operative for major retail companies, and I would do sting operations with the police department and stuff. But one of the things that I did was I read a lot when it was a downtime, because when you're doing a sting operation, you have a lot of downtime where you're just sitting around. And I got a book called Handicappers in the Information Age. It was James Quinn, 1983, 84. And it was basically about how to use computers in and handicapping. What my site is now at BrunoWithTheWorks.com is very much what I gleaned from that book of what I wanted to see and how I wanted to do it. I have done that site based on what I want to see as a handicapper. Now, I'll tell you a quick story, and Scotty may know this late gentleman. His name was Brian Harity. He was a tournament player. He was a sweetheart of a man. He was a subscriber for a long time, but he was a friend. And unfortunately, he passed away recently. But he used to call me, and he used to say, "Bruno, let me tell you how I use your service. Your best service that I've had. And what I do is I do all my handicapping, and then I check what you got." So I would see that I have these 3 horses that I like, and I'm putting my tickets together, and then I go look at Bruno. He always used to talk to me in third person, which was kind of a little freaky, but I loved the man. It was funny. He said, Bruno had the 3 horse. He had 4 horses, and 2 of them I didn't have. So I had to make sure that I incorporated those horses into my wagers, because I knew I could because I couldn't come up with all the winners all the time. But using those horses that I didn't have and you did cashed me more tickets than I tore up. And that is one way to play sometimes when you look at other people's stuff. Look at what they're giving you. Look at what they're saying. If they are complete imbeciles, please don't pay attention to them, okay? But if they actually have some kind of basis that you can say, okay, this guy has a little knowledge, and he uses a horse that you don't have, it's worth taking a look at. And it's not. When you're putting a ticket, and if the horse, I had a guy named Frank that signed up. He bought a yearly product. It was great. 2 days later, he's playing New York. We have a 35-1 shot that wins one of the legs of the early pick 4. It might have been the pick 5. I don't remember. It's one of the two. I get an email from him after the sequence is over. We hit for over $5,000 on that ticket. And he says, I'm sick. I said, what happened? You didn't play the bet? Oh, I did play it, but I took the long shots out and I only played the short price horses. But that is a lot of players out there. If you're out there and you're doing that, I almost called you a dumbass. Why are you taking the long prices out? Use the shorter prices out and take them out if you don't want to. If you want to save $12, you know, I'm sure you can scrounge up on your couch and find that Big Mac after the races if you lose. So it's amazing to me how players play that game and take out the longer price horses and not the shorter price horses, because the longer price horses are the ones that are going to pay you off.
Well,
so Bruno,
can I tell you a quick story, Bruno? Along those lines. So we were, for the real job, we were doing a customer event in the Millionaire Room at Arlington. And they had their track handicappers come by to teach our customers how to handicap. And what they told our customers was the real pros only play the favorites. I want you to.
Did you guys laugh right at their face?
I mean, the people I was with were not normal track people. They were like IT directors and heads of purchasing and things like that. So they didn't know any better. We told them afterwards that's a really bad plan. And we won 4 of the first 8 races, not playing the favorites, by the way. But you know, it's just goes right along the lines that there's, and you know, that they were probably wanting these people to have the feeling of winning versus the feeling of making money. And
yeah. You know what? I would have just, if I would have been there, I would have laughed out loud. Yeah, I would have laughed out loud. You know, listen, I'm pretty straightforward. I'll tell you exactly what I think, and that's bullshit. You know, that's just somebody calling in and getting their paycheck. Hey guys, let me switch gears real quick. In the second race today at Fairgrounds, okay? I know you guys can't get Fairgrounds. There's you know, I've been doing this 35 years. I've been clocking now for 32. I've never had a horse like the 4 horse, Just a Touch. And he's 1-9 on the board. I've never.
Did we lose Bruno? Are you still there, Bruno?
I've had people write me that I had not heard in 10 years. Hey, Bruno, are you still in horse racing? Have you heard of, you know, first of all, that right there tells me, oh boy. You know, second was, have you heard of a horse named Just a Touch? And do you know where he's racing? This was 2 weeks ago. I've had people requesting the videos. There was one guy that actually cropped out all the information on our video and put it on social media because he didn't want to tell people who the horse was. I laughed out loud this morning when I saw it. I said, this horse is going to be 1-9.
It is 1-9.
Yeah.
It is 1-9. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, so, and I will say this, you know, this isn't a race I'm going to play. I had him on top. He's a 4-star work. He's a very talented horse. And if he does what I think he can do, he's going to be on a lot of people's lips, you know, coming up soon. But he's also means he's going to be pretty much squeezed to get right into stakes right away, which is sometimes not, is very detrimental to the horse itself. But in this point is that even Secretariat got beat first time out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And a lot of people, there's so much about, oh, the horse has got to win first time out. No, they don't.
No.
If they win it on their own, perfect. But you know, people don't realize how much you have to get up after a horse for a trainer to get that horse to run big first time out. They really got to get after them. And that means a lot of mileage already before they've even started, because they got to drill them from the gate. And the gate works on the hind end. And the hind end can be very dicey. If it starts to go bad, you have no horse. So it's just a really interesting to me how people think in the game. And also the other part of it is $1 million horses. $1 million horses seem to bring out handicappers, you know, that like they believe, oh, it's got to be good. It's $1 million horse.
Yeah.
If you really look at the percentages of $1 million horses and how they do, it's horrible.
Yeah, Bruno, I got 3 words for you on the $1 million horses. The green monkey.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you brought him up. He was a $60 million horse. But a lot of people don't know what happened to him. Did you know that he was prepping for to go to the 2-year-old to 2-year-old season to go to Pletcher's barn? Well, he flipped over backwards and broke his neck.
Mm-hmm.
He raced. He was able to come back with minimal amount of movement in his neck. So I kind of want to give him a little break because he never got a chance to show what he could really do. But, you know, I mean, the horse broke his neck. Wow. I didn't know until I talked to Oldy and Lorenzo, their consigners. And he says, very few people know this, and he told me the story. So I kind of give him a little break, you know, because of what happened. And I think that was fake money, too, by the way.
So let me ask you this. So tomorrow, Gulfstream is going to be mandatory on their 20-cent pick 6. And it looks like it will carry today and go to tomorrow. Is that something you get involved in? How do you approach that?
You know, I approach every day the same. You know, it sounds, if you talk to, for example, athletes, hockey goalies, you know, you talk to quarterbacks in the NFL, they're only looking at today, what they got to do today and tomorrow and the opponent next week. So I just do the same thing that I'm going to do on any given day. I will handicap that card the same way. And I don't do anything special as far as I will look at the ticket that I'm putting together much closer. But as far as my handicapping is concerned, I do the same thing every day. And we have a little bit similarities. We also run an algorithm. We don't run an algorithm to pick the horses. We run an algorithm because I want to know who the horses in the field has the best factors and advantage in that field. Because every field is different. So we do have something in common between EquinEdge and Racing with Bruno. My webmaster and I designed this algorithm, and all it does, it basically works on factors. And it gives us an idea what horses are what factors. And more often than not, I'll have an 8-5 shot that has absolutely 0 factors. You guys have probably seen that too. And you're going, I'm playing against this one here. So, you know, little things like that. The maiden races are hard to do. But that's where the works come in. But it's again, I always recommend handicappers just do the same thing over and over again. You always do, you know. And
I don't really get into the 20-cent stuff anymore. I was more like Scotty doing the $2 pick 6s and the dollar ones now, because you just get a lot more value, and it forces you to come up with opinions versus just, well, it's 20 cents, so I can go all in this race, and I'm likely going to get the favor to the second choice anyway. So I think multiple ticket approaches to the 20-cent one works out a little bit better, where you can narrow on your opinions and then go deeper in other legs and then try and cover yourself at some point. But you have to throw out, with the 20-cent ones, you have to throw out favorites.
You've got to come up. You know, I'm not a big 20-cent Rainbow Six or 20-cent City, whatever they call it at Churchill, pick 6 player. However, when I play any ticket, horizontal ticket, I'm always looking for the race I can either do a single or double single in.
Mm-hmm.
That is my key, you know. And if I can find 2 or 3 races that I can do that, then actually I might be interested in. But I'm not a big pick six player. I never have been, never will.
Fair enough. Well, we've got Gulfstream. The next race is coming up here. This is the 150K.
The Fred Hooper?
This is the Hijazi race.
Hijazi is interesting. I like Signator on the bottom. If you draw a line through all these two-turn races, his one turns are really pretty good. And I find that Hijazi is probably going to be very, very tough to beat. On a particular angle that, out of the blue, I ended up texting back and forth with Bob Baffert. I've known him since '94. I did some work for him at the sales, for 2-year-old in training sales. I clocked him, and Dortmund was one of my horses that he came up with. But the biggest thing with Bob is I know Bob. He won't tell you he likes the horse. In fact, he'll throw you a curveball. But he writes me and says, "What about the rail in the Hooper for his on Pegasus Day?" I had to scramble real quick because this was early in the week, so I had to go run and see who he had in there, and I realized it was a Hijazi. He wanted to know if the inside was good for his horse in the race. That alone tells me he liked the horse. Not that I'm sitting there and touting a 6-5 shot, but by the way, that was my dog that came up and sniffed. If you heard. But little things like that, that sometimes trainers will never tell you they like their horse. Trainers will ask you about the competition. That's when you know they like the horse.
There's one trainer I know that liked the horse. His name was Rick Dutrow. When the Triple Crown was a foregone conclusion. Remember that one?
Yeah, well, Big Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him too. Except that I didn't like him going into the Belmont. I think I picked Tatara in that race because
I think you did too.
Yeah, and Zito won it. I remember saying, I've learned one thing. I've owned a lot of horses, and I've done well. I'm a 20% owner, 20% winning owner in my stable, and I've learned one thing: you don't futz around with foot problems. Foot problems will come back to bite you. And if you try to push it and you try to come up with we put it in poultice, we soaked it, we did this. No, give the horse give him a month, give him a month and a half, get him over the foot problems. Don't run him. If you run him, it just compounds the problem. And I don't really think Big Brown ever ran again, did he?
No, he didn't. And I can tell you about the foot things because I have a big giant gray horse at the farm right next to my neighborhood. He's out of Nijinsky, and when we got here to Florida 3 years ago, six months later, he got white line really bad. I mean, they chopped that foot. He looked like Tom Dempsey of the New Orleans Saints back in the day. And you're talking a year.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly.
You're talking a year in the barn, not a lot of work and whatnot, and he was running real nice today when the wife was on him. So that foot problems are a pain, and grays are known for that as well. So
yeah, you got it. The foot problems are going to kill you, and and now if anytime I've got a horse with a foot problem, give him the time. And that's what happened with that first-time starter that won at Churchill. He's 2 for 2 now. He won also on New Year's Day, Officer Quigley. He debuted at 4 years old, and I had people snickering, he must be really bad. And he wasn't. He just had a lot of little things happen in key moments that took us a long time to get him ready. First of all, he was a serial groom mangler as a 2-year-old. He was nuts. You couldn't put him on the track. So we had to geld him. We had to give him time. He had to mature. Got him to the track. He rolls up on the fence. He gets hurt. Got to give another 6 weeks. Then, we get him ready to run on Derby Day, and he comes up off. Got to send him to the farm, do a bone scan. He's got a crack deep in his shin that we never would have known, and he pops a huge abscess out over a foot. So by the time we get him to the races, I had him down on my bingo card to start by being 6 because we always liked him. But he ended up starting as a 4-year-old. He won, and now he's 2 for 2. But those are the kind of horses that sometimes you can't make a judgment as a handicapper immediately. Oh, he's a 4-year-old. I got to toss him out. He's no good. That's not true.
All right. Well, let's head back to Gulfstream as they're getting ready to go to the gate here. Hijazi at 6-5. Your 12 that you like at 10-1. I think Oldy and I are on the 8 at 7-2.
Who is the 8 now?
Krativ.
Yeah, I read
that's Chad Brown.
Yeah.
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 And
your game. I'm I know Chad won today, but I mean I cannot believe Chad's too good of a trainer to be 0 for 27 going into today.
Yeah, he won yesterday too. He's 2 for.
Oh, he's 2 for 2. Oh, he's on a roll.
Yeah, he's on a roll.
Yeah, but I mean, I like Chad. I think he his horses run really great in New York. There has to be something going on that basically has him in this position. I'll tell you the other one too is a guy that I like a lot, and I've had horses with him, and he's wonderful. It's Brendan Walsh. And sometimes it's so cyclical that they just their horses are not peaking at the right time. And Florida is very tough, guys. I can tell you, I've seen horses get down there and absolutely lose it. They lose it, and then you're spending 3 months trying to get them back. And about the time you're going to leave Florida, all of a sudden they start picking their head up. They're starting to do things. It's almost like going to another hemisphere.
So tell us about the work on the 4 Cyclone Mischief, because that's a horse that Oldy and I are kind of.
He's a fast workhorse. He's a fast workhorse. He did everything right. He's a 1-turn horse, I believe. He's at a big price. I would use him underneath him. The work was great. I can't knock the work. Sometimes people say, "Well, you gave him a 4-star." Well, what would you like me to do? Would you like me to lie? I mean, so sometimes you gotta look at the horse. You can't just bet blindly. And at 24-1, I would use him underneath. He could sit there and be right there. He is not a bad horse. I just think he's been mismanaged some.
Yeah, I don't think that and I don't want to call out particular trainers, but with that particular trainer, I feel like he gets a lot of talented horses and doesn't get a lot out of those horses. I'm cautioning. Chris knows more about, I know some small time owners that he's been very rude to, things like that. So I may have a personal issue there. So I'm just qualifying.
Yeah, you got to draw those aside. There was a guy that one time was telling. I used to sit in the press box at Santa Anita, and I watched how people would just rail and root against trainers, and I hated that. You know what? If I don't like a trainer, I'll sure as hell love catching a bet on him. I mean, come on. What's the best way? You know what? I don't like the guy, but hey, you know what? I cashed a bet on you. And I love telling them too, hey, how's it going, Joe Blow? Hey, good job the other day. I cashed a big bet on it. To me, sometimes when you hold stuff against people or horses or trainers or owners, it ends up hurting you because you're not taking advantage. If you know a guy is doing some stuff that he's winning races at a high percentage, then what are you doing bitching about it? Capitalize on it.
Yeah, it goes back to Bruno back in the day, when we all used to hang out at the track. I spent many years at Hollywood Park, Santa Anita, and Del Mar, being in California before I came out to Florida. Before there was Twitter and social media, you didn't have all that, right? It was just, It was all just buzz that kind of went from the different bars or levels at Santa Anita or at Hollywood Park or at Del Mar, where you talk to people and hear certain things and whatnot. Now, you can type a few sentences and click out, and you reach 25,000 people within 4 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's funny. You're talking about California, Chris. The day in California, you go to the track and you'd have Cinch coming up and telling you he has a cinch. You'd have Jimmy the Mouth, Jimmy the, you'd have Jimmy the Hat. You would have Fat Eddie. You would have all those guys all touting. They knew all the tips. Oh, I know that this guy likes this horse. This guy doesn't like his horse. That stuff. I just always try to stay out of that. And I wonder if we ever actually hung out or even spoke or said hello. But I used to do a lot of. I used to stay at Santa Anita a lot. Now I do a lot of work. I do my morning work, and then I go home and I watch it on TV. And I'm so much more blessed and live more of a life of relaxation than being at the track every day. Which I will tell you, there was some fun times, especially at Del Mar.
Yeah, Del Mar was absolutely awesome. You and I have interacted in person back there many years ago. But I think one of my favorite people from Southern California and that circuit down there is Kurt Hoover. Just a guy that's, I think, genuinely liked by everyone. He doesn't carry a lot of baggage, and he's always good with an opinion too, right? He'll tell you what he thinks, and you can kind of work it from there.
He's a steady handicapper. He's the guy that's what I was saying. He does the same thing every day. He does his work. I've known Kurt a long time, and I met him in 1988. And sure enough, I mean, he's the same guy. He goes out to the track. He loves what he's doing. He loves the horses. When I watch Del Mar, I kind of like to watch his simulcast feed, because he tells you who he likes.
Cyclone Mischief.
All right, here we go.
On here.
Circle. Now, Great Navigator. 3 more, waiting for Dreaming of Kona. Tumbarumba. From the
Get knocked down.
Tumbarumba is not a bad horse either. He's actually a one-turn horse as well.
Signator.
That's the E long shot. The post on the 11 and the 12, even though I used the 11 after saying I didn't use the 12 because of the post. Going one turn at Gulfstream's a little bit of a concern for me.
And they're off.
A little bit.
Beautiful start inside for Hijazi, who hits the ground running and looks for the early lead at once. Expressman's going to try to run with him. Ridden for position is Great Navigator. And up on the yacht side, Tumbarumba's not far away as they run out of the chute. It's Expressman who takes a narrow advantage from the outside, and Tumbarumba, who's now second. In between horses, Great Navigator and Hijazi is at the rail. Dreaming of Kona runs into a pocket behind them. Then it's Accretive. Cyclone Mischief off the speed while making progress toward the rail. Castle Chaos is a bit wide on the course, not as wide as Signator. Second last is Gilmore, and the late running Steel Sunshine with an inside
so can Hijazi right here?
Ball behind a 23-2.
We're gonna find out.
The leader is Expressman.
He's going to go here in a minute.
Intent on moving through inside with Hijazi, and now the favorite's on to challenge. They went the opening half in 45-3. Hijazi shoves the neck in front, 3 furlongs from the wire. Expressman clings to him second, Tumbarumba third. From the outside, Castle Chaos is making good ground. He's up into fourth now. Dreaming of Kona is next. That's all for Great Navigator. Steel Sunshine has traffic problems while trying to get underway. Meanwhile, Accretive caught very wide. Signator not picking up his feet as they pass 3/4. They're at the top of the stretch, and the leader is Hijazi.
I think we've seen this.
Hijazi,
I've seen this before.
Top after turning for home
Castle
on the
Chaos
lead.
And Tumbarumba 2 lengths behind, second and third.
And the 11's doing a great job blocking.
We're an eighth of a mile from home, and Hijazi is still the
Hijazi's
target, but he has
running
work
out.
to do. Tumbarumba surging to him, and on the outside, Castle Chaos, Tumbarumba. They get to Hijazi, and Tumbarumba gets up to it. Tumbarumba Castle Chaos.
Chris, I ignored the post
in 136
like an idiot and didn't change my bet and kept it in there.
Yeah. That was the convenience store Exacta 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Well, Hijazi has been a disappointment. For as much as they paid for him, he's the kind of horse that at 6-5, he had all the opportunities to win the race and he didn't. So on my notes, every opportunity they had to win and failed. So, Tumbarumba, as I mentioned, going into the gate, Tumbarumba is a one-turn horse that fits in here. Signature never picked up his feet. Never.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and that was the E long shot as well. I was talking to Bluegrass Dan, during the class I do on the system, and he was talking about how he just can't leave the long shot off a ticket because it always kills him, and this is one of those cases where I feel like there might have been a lot of tickets single to Hijazi there.
Probably.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. What did Castle Chaos go off at?
27-1.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tumbarumba did get up. But yeah, that to me, when I look at this race, I just feel that Hijazi has failed more than he's delivered.
Correct.
Yeah, there's no excuse because of his draw. He had a perfect trip.
No, and that was one of the ones, right, where that's a favorite where you could kind of exclude, right? You could kind of leave off tickets and go with that opinion, and not just
You
keep
can.
it.
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. But it's a position that I'm watching the second race at Fairgrounds with this 1-9 shot, 1-5 shot. I called it Pegasus this morning in my newsletter. Mm-hmm. I said, well, really, the real Pegasus is running at Fairgrounds in the second race. We can find out if he can fly. But good for Lynch.
We got an objection. We got an objection at Gulfstream.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Yeah, I love Lynchy. Lynchy and I go back to Chris. We go back to being upstairs in the turf club at Del Mar, having drinks, and in the 90s when he was training for the Rochelles, when they had Very Subtle, and they had all those horses. I think it was Ben Rochelle he was training for. So, Lynchy and I go way back, and I'm happy for him. All right, here we go. We got this Fairgrounds race with Just a Touch. He's the 4-horse, and he promptly broke a tad slow, but he's going to be right into the mix here.
I'm watching the replay on the objection.
Yeah, me too.
Well, so far, the Pegasus is moving very well. I mean, Just a Touch over here at Fairgrounds. It's wet, too, so we have a wet track. But he's 1-2 on the board. Some people thought they were going to be able to get a price. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, he's doing it effortlessly.
Yep. But you never know until they turn from home what they have left.
Yeah, he's got plenty left. That was just why he's just going to pull away now. The Norm Cassidy is going to run. He was made a move at him. He's pretty good too. And then I don't know who's running on now. I can't tell. Yeah, this horse did it okay. He went 22-1, 46, 58, 57, 96. He's going to win it nice. He's going to go probably about 11-1 here.
Oldie, that's a coin flip on the
10-2, 10-2, 10-3.
Oh, they left him up. They're going to leave the 11 up.
I don't know how. I was about to say if they didn't take down that 4-horse earlier, or the Fletcher 4-horse earlier today, where he literally almost knocked the jockey on the 3 over the rail, then there's no way they could take this horse down.
Look, guys, Kesso Chaos came inside on him. Yeah. Tumbarumba did not go into Kesso Chaos. Kesso Chaos came down on him. So
in California, the 11 would have come down in about 40 seconds.
No. Don't even get me started on the Bayern and all that. Don't even get me started. Don't get me started.
And we talk about that all the time too, about the lack of consistency and how that's bad for the industry.
It's the mentality, Mike. It's the mentality. The mentality. I remember sitting up in the press box talking to a really, really nice man, Dave Samuel, bless his soul. He passed away. But I remember he looked at me one time and he goes, "Oh, well, we don't look at early part of the race because they have more time to get over their trouble." Yeah. I went, "Oh, wait a minute." Here's the one funny story. I'll tell you the story. And I'm going to go ahead and get out. I got to take these boys. Walking, but I had a horse that I loved, and turning for home, he drifts out a little bit. Horse tries to come up inside. He shuts the door on him and keeps going. The other horse wasn't affected at all. Inquiry sign. They take him down. Okay? So I'm in the bathroom at the urinal, and here comes David Samuel right next to me. And he looks at me and he goes, "Don't you tell me we made the wrong decision." And I looked at him and I said, David, I said, "Judge, I always stand up for you guys. They call you the 3 blind mice. They call you all sorts of guys' names. I said, but I always stand up, for you. He goes, well, thank you very much. I said, until now, I think they're fucking right. And he laughed. I think the day after I got him back too. There was a mess in the kitchen that it was made, and I blamed him. So here goes the lady from the kitchen running into the steward stand, going, Bruno told me you made a mess in there. Go clean it up. So, so we used to have fun like that all the time with him. But David Samuel was a great steward, was a good man. But I'll never forget that at the urinal, telling the stewards that people are right about him.
Yeah.
Well, Bruno, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. We'll look you up here in the future as we get down to the Triple Crown Trail, because you got good insight there. Go ahead and give us your website one more time, and certainly the EE crew, we do advocate, because it's a good pairing to the product that EquinEdge puts out that we all like. Makes our handicapping easier, and getting workout information helps simplify that puzzle for us.
And Bruno, I know you can't see the chat also. I just want you to let you know Scotty says thanks as well, and all the best.
Tell him I said I want to, have a chance to chat with him soon and say hello. They can go to racingwithbruno.com. We have really, I think it's a wonderful site. Our subscriber site is brunowiththeworks.com. It has all the bells and whistles. But for you guys that you want to go and watch videos, and you want to see the horses working, and you want to learn more, or you want to do your own workout report, if you go to the KentuckyBred.org, KentuckyBred.org, you can scroll down to the bottom, and it has the videos that we update every day from Fairgrounds and Keeneland. We will have Churchill coming up and Keeneland as well. So they're free. You can go on and look at them, and you can kind of try to become your own expert, and you do your own workout report.
And that's KentuckyBred.org, right, Bruno?
Yep,
Yes,
and
sir.
that's also up on the screen for everybody as well. I pulled up the video site, so
we got a lot of new features coming out with that. So maybe we'll talk as we get closer to getting into Keeneland. Maybe we'll do another one of those, and I'll describe some of the things that we're doing that are going to be free for people to take a look at.
Appreciate it, Bruno.
Thank you.
Nice to have
Great
you on.
spending the time with you guys. I really enjoyed it. And Scotty, God bless you, brother. See you soon.
All right, Bruno DiGiulio.
Thank you very
Workout
much.
expert and horse racing character extraordinaire. Not without a story, and they're usually always good.
That was so much fun. I mean, I hope the audience enjoyed it. I think as much as Chris and I were enjoying it here.
Absolutely. It's just good information, man. When you can get people on that just want to help feed and help and teach you. I know he sells a product, and Scotty sells a product, and we advocate you buy subscriptions from EquinEdge because it's easier, and that would be the only other one. I mean, the only other one I think that people use a lot is Formulator, right? And Formulator is great if you're into those types of things, but I'd rather go with EquinEdge than Formulator, even though that sometimes I'll go back and look at those past performances.
All right. So we're coming up we're 16 minutes away from the coast to coast that I like to call the cross country. Those of you who have been with us for a while here will remember that last year on Pegasus Day, we hit this for about a 16K payout.
Mm-hmm.
And this was shared with the group. You kind of get my opinion here, everything but the 8 that I used in the masterpiece that I used in the pick 5 in race 12 at Gulfstream. You have the 9 Warm Heart that I talked about that may not be that I have watched the video on, and I'm not sure it's the same horse. Yes, and EquinEdge Advanced is coming your way very soon, and we'll have the click-through function, video, and all kinds of stuff that Scotty is working on. And for those of you who we haven't officially announced this yet, but we will likely be on for the mandatory pick 6 tomorrow with Scotty. So we'll have him talk a little bit about it as well, and fill the the audience in as much as we can at this point.
Well, we could just blow that up now. This thing's not going to get hit today with a single ticket. I don't think. Hopefully it doesn't. We'll be on tomorrow. What, about 2:15 Eastern? Oldie. We'll do the late pick 6 at Gulfstream. Whatever else is around there, we'll wrap up just about 5 o'clock. Football game starts at 4:30, so we'll probably talk a little football as well, as we got 2 of the championship games tomorrow. We got Golden Gate in 7 minutes, Oldie, if you want to talk about that, or that's about it.
Real quick, I ended up, because Judge Miller scratched out of here, I was just the 1 in the 8 in Santa Anita race 6. So I ended up singling Flying Drummer here, who is dropping in class for Baffert, has shown the ability to not be on the lead and to win, which is rare for a Baffert horse, but is your top pace as well here, I believe. And, so I think this horse is much like we singled a Baffert that was 3-5 last year on that $16,000 ticket. I think this might be the Baffert to play here.
Well, let's just clarify, the ticket didn't cost $16,000. That's what it did.
No, definitely the $16,000 winner, not
Art Collector.
Cost. And then yes, Art Collector. I still don't know how we got 15 to 1 on Art Collector there, but you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Race 7 is down the hill at Santa Anita, and I took the 3 who has some tactical speed, the 7, and I watched a lot of videos on the 3. I watched the 3 and the 7 go down the hill previously, and then the 2 Bronco Nagurski. I really like that last out maiden win. This is not that big of a jump up in class. I think this horse is dangerous too, and I think the speed here, the 8, is going to stop.
Yeah, and as Scotty is saying in the chat, hit the like button, folks. That helps out the channel. Hit the subscribe. It just helps everything else. So, appreciate
Scotty,
the help.
Scotty, thank you again. Good chatting with you yesterday, and looking forward to having you on tomorrow. And have a great night.
Absolutely.
And then in the last at Santa Anita, I'm going fast here, so we can talk about some other races here. We have the 6 Mr. Fisk, who is my top choice and also the system's top choice. I think New Grange is going to be too close to this pace, but New Grange is dangerous here. Bruno actually really liked the 1 horse 2 Rivers Over. I can definitely see it. Could sit a perfect trip from that inside post as well. Big price. Morning line angle there, 12% to win. GSR matches up there, so that's a horse to watch there as well. Not an actual horse to watch, but a horse to watch in my mind. And then you have the 4, the other Baffert, that I had as a little bit of a cut below Mr. Fisk, but it's still dangerous here on the stretch out. GSR supports this move back to routing.
Yep.
And hopefully we're alive there to the pay leg for that to matter. So real simple ticket, 288's where I ended up. So that's 144 for a 50-cent pick 5. Just spread out to a 50-cent to a $1 ticket there. All right, so you said, let's refresh this. So let's refresh the screen here so we can, so we can look at, we got Oaklawn or Golden Gate. Let's look at Golden Gate first. Can we beat this 1-9 horse?
Oof. I don't know, man. I don't monkey around with a lot of Golden Gate, but Rutherford.
I thought you were the Golden Gate monkey.
No. Let's look. Let's see if there's any hope.
I mean, the hope would be that the horse gets used up on the front end here.
Yeah, or it completely misses the break. That would be another one, right?
Yeah.
48% horse, 52 square on the sore, 2 squares on the sore. It looks like he's up against it. The 1 for 13. I mean, Horse is 1 for 7. It's probably at the right level, taking a big drop. 4 claimers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you try and here if you don't think you can beat the 2, the first thing I would do is go look at the probables for the exacta and see if you can make a case for a price you like. Because the 2-3 is paying 2 to 1. Right?
If you're not going to risk that much, it's worth taking a shot here on a 3-5 exacta, I think. The second pick over the long shot.
Yeah, that's paying 22 to 1.
Yeah.
And if you don't, the 2-5 is paying 8 to 1. The 2-3 is paying 2 to 1. The other 3 horses, the 1, 4, and 6, are all paying 16, 10, and 14 to 1.
Yeah.
That's not bad. If you can throw the 3 out and you think the 2 is going to romp, and the 1, the 4, the 6 comes in second, you're going to get paid.
Yep. But I'm just going with a little 3-5 exacta for $2 there.
Sure, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, 3-5 is 22 to 1. 5-3 is 28 to 1. Right. So those are little bankroll builders. It'll help you get a little bit money back to build another bet.
All right. So Golden Gate. We're about a minute from post, which means probably about 4 minutes.
Well, it's a 3-minute load for sure.
Yeah. All right. So also coming up here, and one of your favorite horses is running, or was at least carted to run. I haven't looked to see if it was scratched at Anita today.
Which one is that?
Our old friend Dick Best.
Oh, no, not Dick Best.
Yes, Dick Best.
Dick Best is one that has gotten the best of me more times than not.
Let me see if I can find him. No,
he's running. Stiletto Boy
it was early in the card. I swear I saw him on here.
They should send Dick Best to Oaklawn.
So that Matt always has to pronounce it.
He admitted to us that that's a scary horse for him.
Yeah. I'm sure they don't enjoy it, just like we enjoy hearing them have to tiptoe around it. I swear it was. I'm not seeing it, so maybe I'm wrong. I swear Dick Best was running at Anita today.
Well, you only got to bet 500 to win 100 on Rutherford now.
Rutherford B. Hayes.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know, on synthetic in a 4K non-winners of 2 lifetime. All right, we're almost loaded here. I just can't
really shown it all
get
yet.
with 1 to 9 there,
It's
or 2 to 5.
Here, him and the main event.
Hold on, I have some other
2 different
audio on here.
Yeah, one day we're going to hire you an audio intern.
And Rancho Red.
That day won't be soon, but one day.
So, Tony, are you still alive at Gulfstream in the Pick 6?
Be right back, Oldy.
No problem.
Rancho Red to the
Happy
outside.
anniversary, first wedding anniversary to Artie and Mike race here. I don't know that I want my wedding anniversary associated with a 4K
And
claimer.
they're off.
But,
A step
and guess who
is
blew the break?
Rutherford, who's last. Johnny Paycheck and Drumadoon are first and second early on, and they will tangle for the top spot. Anthony's Best outside in third. El Capricho towards the inside. And then it's Rancho Red, who's deep on the course in that middle cluster, 2.5 off the lead, and 2 lengths of Rutherford, who's at the back of the pack as they go into the far turn. Less than 3.5 furlongs to go. Drumadoon clears off. Drumadoon has the lead by a length over Johnny Paycheck. Rancho Red ranging up to the outside of the white blinkers, up into second. Fourth place, Anthony's
It's going to be
Best.
4-6, and it's
Capricho's
going to
the
pay
outside of Rutherford.
all the
And
exacta money and
Rutherford's trying
trifecta money if the
to
two
get through
finishes
along
out of
the
the money
inside at the
altogether.
back, but still 5 lengths off the lead as they turn into the stretch.
Here comes the 3.
Drumadoon cuts the corner. Rancho Red and Johnny Paycheck 3 wide. Rutherford had to check and now switches to the inside, but really nowhere to go. Might be able to squeeze through at the fence. Will Rutherford? 4 across the track, 16th to go. Johnny Paycheck, Rutherford up the inside. Johnny Paycheck and Rutherford.
Johnny Paycheck, so 3
Johnny
over the 2.
Paycheck defeats Rutherford, who had a miserable trip.
The red light is flaccid. Comic John. Maybe when Dick Best is being loaded in there. All right, so let's go to Gulfstream here.
Number 8 is Masterpiece, owned by Michael and Jules Ivarone, Nicholas Zumas, and Frank
Look at the post
Argano,
parade.
trained by Sidney Dutrow, ridden by Jose Lescano. Number 9 is Warm
And I don't know
Heart,
if you
owned by
heard
Derek Smith,
why
Michael
it's
Kramer,
Sidney
Mrs. John
Dutrow, but
Magner, and Wester
Rick
Bird,
Dutrow had
trained
not
by
applied
Aidan
for his
O'Brien,
trainer
ridden by
license
Ryan
yet
Moore.
in Florida, and to get around the
Number 10, Cheryl's
the
Spite,
red
owned
tape,
by Charles Fipke,
they
trained by
put his
Roger
assistant, his
Atfield, ridden by
brother,
Louis
as the
Seid.
main
11 main
trainer.
event, owned by the Herald Ventures and trained by George Weaver. Javier Castellano is the jockey. Number 12 is Catnip, owned by John and Susan Moore, trained by Mike Stidham and ridden by Frankie Dettori. That's the field of 12 to go 9
Ridden by a
furlongs
cat.
over the Gulfstream Park turf for $1 million. The 6th running of the Pegasus World Cup Turf
Million?
Invitational is up next.
So who do you guys like here? I'm actually surprised Warm
Best
Heart
turned
is
out
not
horse
a
and
bigger
Groom Award
favorite
winner
based
for
on
race
what I
number
was
12 goes to number
hearing
11
about
main
that horse
event.
being singled.
Congratulations to groom Pedro Dragon from the barn of trainer George Weaver, and good luck to main event here. We thank Centennial Farms and the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance for their continued support of the Best Turned Out Award winners.
2 almost ended up winning there, even after blowing the brake.
Almost, huh?
Yes, almost. Like Edward James.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
That was quick and good.
And notice I kept the straight face until you started laughing.
Yeah. So integration, Warm Heart here, right? You got to kind of like pick one. I'm going to do a double, and I'm not going to do it to National Treasure.
So the first mission.
Yeah.
Do a Brad double of like $300 straight.
Maybe not a Brad double. Let me see if Brad.
UK is massive on Warm Heart.
Okay, so I'm not going to tell you what he's doing right now. Because
Cindy, how are you feeling, Cindy?
I can tell you that he had a $200 double Didia into Tubba paid 25 to 1.
I only had a $5 double there, but it did pay and paid much better than just a straight win bet to Didia. There is the possibility that the 11 gets the lead here and just doesn't look back too.
Sure.
The 5's the long shot if you're keeping an eye on the E long shot there. Mark Cassie, web slinger. What time is S bingo? Scott, I'm not sure who that question's for. Bingo?
We don't do bingo.
Cindy's alive to the 7 and the 9. In the pick 3, I'm alive here to the 3, 9, and 11. Excellent. All right, so the 4-horse looking great there.
I'm going to settle on integration.
Integration is the favorite in the doubles and pick 3s, I believe.
It's really close between the 9. I mean,
Yeah.
9-1 to 10-1.
It hasn't come back to haunt the 3, but in the 2 races I watched on integration, after turning for home, he turns his head to the side and, kind of loses focus for a minute before the jockey hits him a couple times with the whip and gets the head straightened out. I've lost races before because of that, when the horse just wouldn't run straight, or because of the angle of the head's looking somewhere else. So I'm just talking.
Yeah, I mean, you're still, when you look at the exacta there, the 3-9's paying 9-1, the 9-3 is paying 9-1 as well. So you box those, you're getting 4.5 to 1 on the top 2 picks with not a lot else in there, right? Other than potentially the 11 or Masterpiece. That's Masterpiece is being trained by Sydney Detro.
Yeah, I explained that while you were gone. So that they put this out earlier this week that Rick Dutrow didn't have time to, or didn't take the time to do his trainer's license in Florida. So they had to put Sydney up there as the trainer of record. His brother.
The horses are approaching the starting gate. Race 12 today, the first half of the late daily double, the Pegasus World Cup Turf.
I mean, if you want to make a money, well, what am I, a Mario brother here? If you want to make money here, put the 11 and the 5 on top of your trifecta.
Yeah, or the 12.
Yeah, I mean, my point is put a price on top.
Mm-hmm. Cindy, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. We've got one more race after this one at Gulfstream, then we'll wrap it up for the day. And pending the mandatory tomorrow, we will be back for Championship Sunday. Championship and mandatory Pick 6 Sunday.
The horses.
I'm just calling it mandatory Sunday.
It's now post time for the 2024 Pegasus World Cup Turf. 1 1/8 for $1 million. The 8-5 favorite is number 3, Integration. Warm Heart is 2-1. They dominate the betting market. Webslinger, your third choice, at 8-1. They're moving in. Jerry the Nipper and the defending champion Atone are ready. Adamo and the Gray Masterpiece have walked forward. Ryan Moore on Warm Heart. She's in line. Tyler Gaffleone riding Integration, and he's ready. Now, Sherrill Spite, I'm very busy.
All right, Oldy, I'm not watching.
4 to move in.
Take us through.
All right.
Main event, the next one. Webslinger. The last 2 to load are King Max, and from the outside, Catnip. Catnip and Frankie Dettori to take the outside gate. Catnip up and in. All set. And they're off in the 6th running of the Pegasus World Cup Turf. Good start inside for Jerry the Nipper, who heads off for the early advantage. The favorites are
Nips
both
off,
away in good shape. Warm Heart has moved up between horses and on the outside Main Event. So Main Event is up and around Jerry the Nipper to take the lead with 1 lap to go. Warm Heart is now 3rd. She's angled over to the 2-path. From the outside, it's Catnip who's marching forward for Dettori. Down at the inside, it's Integration. Adamo is between horses. Out 3 deep is Sherrill Spite. He's only 3 lengths off the speed. Back from there, it's I'm Very Busy, who's toward the rail. King Max is in the 2-path. Then it's a Tone. The Gray Masterpiece is second last. Reserved at the back is Web Slinger. They chase the speed of Main Event. Main Event and Javier Castellano to the backstretch on top by a length off the inside. Jerry the Nipper is now second. Ryan Moore delighted with his spot with Warm Heart. She's 3rd, tracking the top 2. Back to 4th and wide is Catnip ahead of Integration. Then it's Adamo. I'm Very Busy stays parked at the inside. Sherrill Spite's on the outside. Then the Gray Masterpiece with King Max toward the back of the field is Web Slinger as they make their way by a half in 46 and 4. It's been a quick pace, and Main Event does things his own way. He's into the turn on top. Jerry the Nipper is second. Warm Heart. Now she has a decision to make. Where will she race from here? Back to 4th and Catnip. Integration is underway with pace ahead of him. He needs a little racing room. They move by 3/4 in 109 and 2, and they're at the top of the stretch. Castellano and Main Event still going. Warm Heart needs a way out. Integration trying to work to the clear. Catnip trying to shut the door on him. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go. Here's Warm Heart. She got through at the rail. What a ride! And Warm Heart has hit the front. The globe-trotting Warm Heart is clear. Outside,
Warm Heart's been getting caught.
Hard late. Warm Heart wins the Pegasus World Cup Turf. Give that to Ryan Moore. A winning ride at the 8th pole in 144 and 2.
144 and 2. Not bad. Not a bad pick 3 there. And second choice, decent start for the for our coast to coast as well. Yeah, Tony, my biggest concern with that horse was it had gotten caught. There's no objection. At least not on my screen. And it wouldn't be on the 9. The 9 didn't do anything. Snuck him down the rail, didn't do anything. Yes. So, Chris, I don't know if you saw what the Didia Warm Heart with the E long shot sandwiched in the middle. Pick 3 paid $151.10 for $1.
Yeah, that's how
Number
you find
9, Warm Heart first.
And I had it.
Number 4,
Granted,
I'm
not
Very
a
Busy.
huge
Second.
pick 3, but I had it for
Number 12,
$2.
Catnip.
And now I'm alive to
Number
the
1,
Pegasus
Atone,
lag
fourth.
on the pick
Number
4
3,
as well.
Integration finished 5th. 9, 4, 12, 1, 3. She's been all over the globe, but she's here in South Florida.
Winner
and headed
didn't
to the
drift
winner's circle, the 2024 Pegasus World Cup. The filly beats the boys. Warm.
So Tony, what are you alive to here?
Ladies and gentlemen, the final running time, 1:44 and
You can definitely get a
45
boom, my
100
friend.
seconds. That does establish a new track record, eclipsing the mark set by English Channel all the way back in 2007 of 1:44 and 51 100ths. 6 100ths of a second taken off the track record. So not only does she win, she wins in track record time. Warm Heart.
Definitely did not drift out there.
No.
That was supposed to be Warm Heart's last race, though. Scheduled to have been retired after this. But, yeah. One of the top turf horses currently active. Jockeys alive to pick 5 and pick 6 to National Treasure.
Catnip finished 3rd at 45 to 1.
Yep.
All right, Oldie. Race 4 at Santa Anita.
Race 4 at Santa Anita. I think there's like 3 horses there. No, there's 6.
Oh, it's a big field. It's a big field of 6. Big field of 6.
Big field of 6. Vienna looks like the speed of this race. Has a win over 46s. No value there. Bossy Bruin Girl, was, and I don't really understand why, but was grade 3 placed. But I would just ignore that. Has wins over 46s as well. The 2 Cocktail Cutie is your E long shot. Has a E morning line angle and is 10%.
Yep.
So
and dropping the class.
Yeah, drop in class, has a win over 46s. This is the horse that's not getting bet that has some value. For me, that this is the play here, and maybe with an exacta with Bella Vienna on the front end.
Yeah, and you got Bossy Bruin Gal taking money as well, right?
Yep. But again, this horse is taking money because it was placed in a grade 3.
Mm-hmm. What about the 5? That's another one with an E morning line angle, second pick. Could you get a Steve Knapp exacta here?
Well, this horse could be faster than the pace number indicates. Just looking here, it has gotten the lead, pretty much 2 out of the last 5 times, but it was in against much better, the other times. It did break well 2 of those times too. So I wouldn't count the 5 out here either.
The problem with the 5, as Parker would tell you, is you've got Tyler Bass on it. I mean, this is another Bruno EE angle as well. Top Bruno pick on the 2, the long shot, 10-1. The price is right, as Bob Barker would say. Yeah. I don't disagree with you. That's a decent place to plant a flag.
Well, with 1 left to go, the Didia plays, by the way. Remember I said I played pick 3, pick 4, and a $2 pick 3, $5 double, and a 50-cent pick 4. We're at $425.50 so far in payouts on the Didia single.
Yep.
And we are alive, or when I say we, I'm alive to the 2 through 4, 8, 4 through 8 in the Pegasus World Cup. And I spent less than, I'll tell you exactly what I spent here. So 45 on the pick 4. Let's see. So.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you real quick because we got a minute to post at Santa Anita. The Judge Miller race, where did you land there with Judge Miller out?
I was only 2 horses there, so I landed on my other horse, the 8 horse. The bathroom there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to just do a cold pick 3 there. 2, 6, 8.
And I'm just going to say to everybody that the reason we're talking about Judge Miller is a full brother to Clarier. And that pedigree was a 99 GSR for this race too. I haven't heard why the horse scratched, but is a horse that I would keep an eye on, and I'll try to let people know next time he runs, next time he pops up too. All right, so we have, and I did, so let's go to Anita here. We still got a minute to post, it looks like.
Really nicely. And
let's see. Tony says he's too deep in the last. Is that the pick 5 or pick 6, Tony?
5, Born to Stay Thirsty. So
and Jotham's alive, Singleton National Treasure in the last.
Ladies and gentlemen, we
pick 5 and
direct
pick 6.
back to the winner's circle, trackside for the trophy presentation.
Definitely looked the best, had the best warm up, and looked the best in shape. But also, the number 1 is quite interesting. That's Warren's Wild Ride for trainer
Jotham says he's alive. Well, they don't give the pick 6 will pays, but National Treasure is paying
first time out. They
a
moved her
little
up
over
to the
$2,000
starter.
for
She didn't
50
run so
cents
good, so now they bring her back to claiming 32, about half of her
in the
maiden
pick 5.
price. And I think that's exactly the move that is going to get her to the winner's circle today. She does draw the rail, but I don't think that'll bother her too much. And I really like Warren's
And
Wild.
Tony, again, you
Claim
still haven't told
race.
me what your 2 horses are.
Yeah, Tony, tell us.
I'm guessing First Mission and National Treasure.
That would be likely.
First Mission is actually the favorite in the pick 5. Yeah, we know just 2 horses. Which 2, Tony? He doesn't want to jinx it, but he doesn't have the 7. Okay, so he does not have National Treasure,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably, if I was going narrow there, the way I would have played that too. Cindy's alive to the 2, 7, 8. Is that pick 5 or pick 6, Cindy? It's always a good day when the E community's taking home a lot of the money from the track.
Absolutely. Stealing from others legally.
Pick 5. So, Cindy, you got 3K on the 2 and about 7, about 19.7 no, about 19.40 on the 8 is your lowest amount. So that's not bad. Think you'll take that?
It's post time. The horses are at the gate. Loading in the gate for the 4th. Bree Miller goes in. Bossy Bruin Gal.
Getting hungry, Oldie. It's time to eat.
Born to Stay Thirsty in the pink. And Bella Vienna.
All right, we're all in.
In the gate. And they're off. Even start, Born to Stay Thirsty, Bella Vienna. Those 2 hook up right out of the gate. Cocktail Cutie, Warren's Wild Ride down at the rail takes 3rd. Then Bossy Bruin Gal, 4 off the lead. And Dory Miller patiently handled early on.
As I said, the 5
Bella
would have
Vienna,
some speed.
Born to Stay Thirsty. Go past the half-mile pole. 3 in front of Warren's Wild Ride in 3rd. On the far outside, Bossy Bruin Gal, Cocktail Cutie, and Dory Miller. Now Bella Vienna has shaken loose. Opens up 3. Warren's Wild Ride takes 2nd. Born to Stay Thirsty retreating. Bossy Bruin Gal, Cocktail Cutie, Dory Miller trying to move up in
6
traffic,
gone.
finding some daylight now as the field turns for home. It's Bella Vienna with a 4-length lead. Dory Miller now moves into 2nd, followed by Warren's Wild Ride in 3rd, a 16th to go, and Bella Vienna still with a commanding advantage, and it's going to be Bella Vienna and Luis Contreras to win it by 2 lengths. Dory Miller finished strongly in 2nd, then Bossy Bruin Gal and Warren's Wild Ride.
All right, so coming up here, we got 7 minutes to Soggy Oak Lawn, or we got 10 minutes to Golden Gate. What do you feel like?
What are my choices again?
7 minutes to soggy Oak Lawn without the lawn, and 10 minutes to Golden Gate.
Oh, well, let's go out to Oakland. Why not, right?
Sure. Our first trip to Oak Lawn today. Allowance optional claiming. We have the 12 and the 6. Top 2 E picks here. Both look like they'll be pretty close to the pace. Win over 66 is for the Norm Cassie 12 here. Can rate a little bit. 6 has a win over 62s for Peter Miller. The long shot's 10% here. Is a win over 64s. Was claimed by Asmussen from Peter Miller. Decent wet GSR, not as good as the 12 or the 7. Seven's 0 for 5 at the distance, but getting bat. Not really, dropping 4 points in SOR, but his run against 60s and not one. Hawthorne horse. Choose 1 for 12. The 3 can be tough on the lead, but may prefer turf. Thoughts here?
Still working it, man. This one's not easy. None of the Oakland ones really are. You have to put some thought into this and kind of figure out, kind of like what Bruno was saying earlier, right? It's not going to go exactly the way you think it's going to go. So you've got to have some level of info here on a certain angle to take, right? Any of these horses won in the slop, Oldie?
Lots of them. The 8 won in 2022, December 2022 at Oaklawn, going 5.5 in the slop. The no wins for the 5 in the slop, but no races either. The 11 win in the slop at Saratoga. Nothing for the 6.
How about the 10, Ninja Warrior? Christian Torres has been winning races there. 7-1 square price.
Win in the slop against 54s. How about a 5, 8, 10 exacta box? 5, 8, 10 exacta box.
I'm going to play it. Exacta box, 5, 8, 10.
Yep.
The 7, the 3, the 9. I don't see a lot of mud wins for the 7. The 3 did run bad in the slop.
Yeah.
Is top pace, the 3. So keep that in mind. The 9, Spend Benjamins. This would be first time slop. So when you look at that GSR, it retains.
Yep.
First time at the slop level is a good angle as well, keeping its GSR there.
First time slop. Or as they'd say, as the Arkansas Razorbacks would say, woo pig suey. All right, let's see here. So 2 minutes to post there. We can look at Golden Gate while we're waiting for them there. I don't expect the biggest field. I'm hoping I'll be surprised here.
Mm-hmm.
We are on fire there, but 5-horse field. 5, your top win percentage in second pick is currently sitting at 4-1. And should get first run on the pace here.
Yeah.
Former Wong horse, just missed last time out. I just think for the favorite, who's 0 for 5 at the distance, has no tactical speed, which is probably why the horse is 0 for 5 at the distance. It's going to be a tough going for that horse to get
Yeah.
there. And the long shot Supersonic Flyer, has a win at this surface and distance against 54s. The 3 is a speed horse, but a little cheaper speed, it looks like, and looks like it prefers turf.
Yeah.
As well. So I'd be on the 5 and the 2 here. I don't see anything in the 4's works that make me think that the 4 can win if it doesn't get the lead and middling pace number.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to say bye to that and bye to that. I didn't like that, the cheap speed, so just that.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on. I'm going to pass on the whatchamacallit. I'm passing Golden Gate and stick with the lawn.
Okay.
So Brad flamed out in the tournament. He was on that 3 that didn't win there. He was all over that the horse that won and then backed off on that. So he's got 100 left in the tournament, and he's like, let's come up with a wager to turn that $100 into $3,000 so we can add that to our Super Bowl bets. So we'll look at that here as we get past this Oaklawn race. What do we got here to Gulfstream? We got about 16 minutes, probably a little more.
Well, let's see what they actually say on the thing versus 17 minutes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right around there. So we'll see if we can come up with something fun.
And here, I'll put, since we can't watch Oaklawn on the screen, I'll put Golden Gate up on there while we watch the Oaklawn race.
Yeah, I've got the audio queued up for Oaklawn. So.
And I just won't start the audio.
Yeah, it's not meant to enter in. We don't want to hear it anyway. All right, folks, another shameless plug. Hit that like button, and we'll be back tomorrow for the mandatory pick 6 at Gulfstream. Gulfstream shows pick 6s, right? Don't they, Oldie?
No, not all. Not on rainbow days. On mandatories, I think they do. Sometimes they do. So let's look again and just make sure that they didn't add it. Got pick 4, pick 5, no pick 6 today.
I'm already getting all of the political fundraising texts, so that's awesome.
Do they ever stop?
I block them as much as I can because I just don't want to hear it. I'm not going to read it, but it's just ridiculous as usual. Yeah.
We're circling around in the slop. I would not be surprised if Golden Gate goes off first.
Circling in the slop.
That could be a horse name.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. So Oldie, I've got the Golden Gate screen up on my thing, and I've got the Ditterman audio. Did you just hear that?
I did not know.
Okay, so Ditterman just said we're on our way to the gate, and I was watching the Gulfstream feed. So, all
The
right.
red light is flashing at Golden Gate Fields as well.
All right, so you did not hear the audio there. Let's see if I do this right. Light.
I heard it for a second there.
Okay, you can hear it now?
Nope. For a second, I heard it. Still nothing.
How about now?
Nope.
All right, go to audio on Golden Gate.
All right. Golden Gate audio.
And they're all in the gate.
They did beat Oaklawn.
And they're off. Looks like a glorious start. It's Bacalar and Supersonic Flyer, the inside two, who rush out for the front end. And the Smart Way rates in third. Then 2 lengths to Truly Fabulous, who's a length in front of Jasmine Chieftain, who's in the 5th and trailing position and about 7 lengths off the lead. 2 horses dueling for the top spot, less than a half mile to go. Supersonic Flyer to the inside of Bacalar. They're clear by 4. 10, the Smart Way, content to sit 4 lengths off the pace in third. Truly Fabulous towards her inside 4th. And Jasmine Chieftain's at the back of the pack. They got 2.5 furlongs to go. Bacalar and Supersonic Flyer continue to spar on the front end. Truly Fabulous, 10, the Smart Way, 3rd and 4th. Jasmine Chieftain will have to loop up wide as they reach the top of the stretch, as it's Supersonic Flyer and Bacalar still in their private match race, joined by Truly Fabulous on the outside and Jasmine Chieftain on the grandstand side, closing in a length and a half off the lead. It's Truly Fabulous and Jasmine Chieftain. Truly Fabulous reaching Jasmine Chieftain. Photo finish. Too close to
Not
call.
a photo finish.
Between
5-1.
Truly Fabulous and
Well,
Jasmine
still a photo
Chieftain.
finish, but
Supersonic Flyer was 3rd.
all right. The 3 is on the lead as expected. Five sitting in a nice trip, but we need the 8 or the 10 to find its way here. 5 being asked, floating out wide into a bunch of horses. Closing down the middle is the 6, but the 11 looks like he's going to hang on here. It's going to go 11-4.
11-4, 12-6.
So 14-1 over 21-1.
That's Oaklawn for you.
Yep. The Oak Slop.
The 11. Major Blue.
All right, we have a few minutes to the Pegasus here.
10 minutes, that's it.
Yep.
We'll wrap this up after that.
So possible upsets here. O'Connell, you're getting 10-1 on Skippy, who's the second choice, and really has not been getting that long. You know, the outside post is one of those reasons. The long shot sitting at 9-1 here. Also top pace. Really a sprinter that's stretching out. Did win the at a mile last time out in the slop. But that was a 1-turn mile at Aqueduct.
Mm-hmm.
Um, National Treasure has shown that, pretty much needs the lead. Not the greatest breaker either. Justin's horse, Senor Buscador, with the big San Diego upset. I don't think there's enough pace in here.
I think I like for the exact 8, 5, and 3. I mean, when you look at those horses there, I realize the 8's only run once at the distance, has the top GSR, ran second. But when you look at the 5 and the 3, I mean, the 3 is 3 for 5 at the distance with 2 seconds.
Yep. Yeah,
and 5 is 2 for 5 at the distance with 1 second. And National Treasure is 0, and 0 at 2 tries at the distance.
Yes. Yeah,
I think they shipped him in early. The other one that's Nimitz class, right, where privately bought just for this and whatnot, but it's probably up against it.
Yeah. It does have a good post though for Gulfstream.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be up against it class wise. Zayas should get him out of the gate fine though. Weaver, first time with horse, is almost 30%. So that's something to consider there. No, I agree with you. A Dynamic One's a really interesting horse here. Going way back to 2021. Just put a couple clunkers in the last couple times out, and may not be the same horse off that year plus layoff as well.
Yeah.
But the question is, with Nimitz class, I think is faster than the pace numbers giving you credit for. Skippy's going to have to skip from that outside post. So I think you could get a lot more lively pace than the system indicates here. Senor Buscador for Fitcher is going to be running late. Dynamic One, O'Connor, they're all going to be running late there. O'Connor's got a little more tactical speed. Loves the track. Gets a slight increase here in GSR.
Mm-hmm.
But not a factor last year. I think I put Brad liked another race. That was the note I had from last year's World Cup.
What about Hoist the Gold?
Turf Teddy like 6'12", 4'8". Hoist the Gold, and again, is a sprinter. The question is the distance and how fast this race goes.
Yeah.
But Hoist the Gold's definitely a possibility here.
It's just got to go like further than I think it wants to go.
I mean, GSR says it should be fine. We just have no evidence of that.
No, and that therein lies the problem.
I mean, Dr. Johnny V here could get this horse maybe to relax a little bit and get the horse clear. And if that happens, and he can walk the dog on the front end, anything could happen.
Yeah.
But for the sake of the people that are alive here, did Tony ever tell us what he's alive to?
I don't think so.
Not the 7 is the only info we have. But I know Cindy's alive here to the 2, 7 and 8. Let's let's see who else was alive here. Jotham's alive to the 7 in the pick 5 and pick 6. So that could be a really nice double dip for him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it here. We're 4 minutes. Let's take a look at the track now. In the post parade. No sound yet, but that's not surprising for Gulfstream. At the Florida Derby or the Pegasus, they don't sing like "Florida, My Florida."
No, they don't. They don't say. There's no song.
You know, at the Indiana has Back Home Again in Indiana. You have My Old Kentucky Home. You have New York, New York for the Belmont. We need something for the Pegasus. And not 5 Nations Army or 7 Nations Army, whatever it was.
7 Nation Army. That should be the theme song.
Five Nation Army. One of those nations.
Yeah, one of those nations. I mean, you think
now, Jotham, that they're being jerks about it and not showing us the payout.
You think the 8 here just does it?
I mean, I think the 8 could be good enough. Yes. Keep in mind the 5 beat the 8 last time out, and there's
I know.
what I would describe as a shocking price difference between the two. Not saying the 5's going to win here. I'm just saying if the 8's 2-1, the 5 should not be 18-1.
No, I think that's a horse I'll box with the 8 just in case those two hook up again. I mean, 8-5 is paying 58-1. 5-8 is paying 86-1. Sometimes you just have to look at the prices and let the price dictate really what you're going to do. The 1 would be just a huge shocker here, for sure.
And ladies and gentlemen, we do have our best turned out horse award winner for the upcoming
Well, I thought they were
Pegasus
about to
World
scratch
Cup.
somebody.
It's number 10, Il Miraculo. Congratulations to groom Jose Martinez.
Because, you know, that does
Good
happen.
luck to Il Miraculo here in race 13.
I would say it would take nothing short of an El Miraculo for that.
Well, it's $100 if you go 1 all in the 10-cent super, which will certainly pay more than $100.
Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup Invitational is up. The feature race. This is a race that just stamps some legendary horses such as Arrogate, California Chrome, 1 1/8 here
Art
on
Collector.
the dirt track, just a few
Art
moments
Collector.
away from post time.
Don't forget
Number
the Art
7,
Collector.
National Treasure. The 2023 Grade 1 Preakness winner came back from that win to be a little less than impressive. But then he showed a bit more life at Santa Anita in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and that's the race I would rather look at.
She's
than
reading
those
my
3
social media
races
profile.
after
A
that
little
huge
less
win
than impressive.
in the Preakness race. Now you could say that the field wasn't as strong in the Preakness, but I will say that field was very strong in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. 2023 Horse of the Year, Cody's Wish, he was battling very hard fought down the lane with, and just really did well. He's been training incredibly back at their home in Santa Anita. You look back at those works, and he's just, he's an athlete here. But this is a very wide open field, and you can tell by the board here that it's just not so easy with going down with this Preakness winner and moving on to the next. The number 2, O'Connor, he's the local horse, the Ivorone-owned Safi Joseph trainee, 7-year-old who loves this distance of 1 1/8. We thought the 1 1/16 in the Grade 3 Harlan's Holiday would just be a bit too sharp for him, and he still prevailed. I feel like now that he's got another race
So I ended up playing
and a
a
little bit
4,
more consistency
5,
in his
8
schedule,
exact box.
this is going to be set up for a
4,
big
5,
ride
8
here from
exact
Jockey
box.
Paco Lopez and Safi Joseph and their whole team. The number 8, First mission, what do we do with this Brad Cox trainee? He's been working solo at fairgrounds. That's his typical routine here at the Churchill race and the
I
Clark.
played a
He was defeated
1-8
Trademark, who's also in this
45
race,
all
number 5.
stupid
But maybe you can give
for
him
a
a little
dollar.
bit of credit because
18
he's just
bucks.
a horse that's kind of just starting to come into himself. And I don't think they've really quite gotten to the bottom of him yet. His 4-year-old future is looking very bright. We'll see if he can hold it through in this spot here today. It's a big ask for him. He shipped here not just a few days ago.
Big ask
And
for him?
I think that he's got a shot if
Yes.
he can bring his A game, but he'll have to run
He's
the
got
race.
that
big-
junk
He
in the
does look
trunk.
incredible for the connections.
A big
though.
ask
Knock it
for
on.
him.
With Louis
A big
Saez,
ask
Ford
for him
trainer
is a
Brad
completely
Cox. Such a
different
solid
chat
field here in the
than what
Grade
we
1
have now.
Pegasus World
Yes.
Cup. Just so many good horses have come out of this race here, and
All right,
what
folks.
a wide
Like
open
button
betting
time.
board we've got coming into this finale. Hope you're still alive and all of your pick 5s and pick 6s.
Tony, I think it's
Enjoy
possible that
Grade 1
Dr.
Pegasus
Johnny
World Cup.
can steal this on the front end.
Dr. Johnny?
I have some WKRP in my head right now. Dr. Johnny Fever.
Yeah, I hear you. I just can't believe that National Treasure is being favored.
Just a friendly
Oh,
reminder,
good.
ladies and gentlemen, live thoroughbred action 5 days a week
It's
throughout
the
the
Baffert
months here at
factor, though.
Gulfstream Park. Live racing again
Yeah, but the
tomorrow in
Baffert
South
factor
Florida with
shipping
racing forms and
to
programs on sale now.
Gulfstream is not
A
exciting.
mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six tomorrow, expecting a multi-million-dollar pool. Join us for Sunday racing. First race
Okay,
post
but
time.
are we all
is
covered?
12:10.
He did not tell us that.
No, he did not. It's likely because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And they did not show the pick 6 wheel pace today. They did that intentionally. Just to screw with us.
Did the favorite win the first leg of the pick 6?
I will tell you right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Francisco Clemente, 640.
Yeah.
640, $16, 860, 1880, 680. I think if the 8 wins here, that it can't go down.
What was the new pool? Remember,
Over $1 million.
Okay. It could still pay pretty decently. I think the pick 5 might pay a little better. Similar pool size. Less takeout.
Well, yeah.
My guy, less takeout.
The only pick 20-cent pick 6 that has really low takeout is the Churchill one, the 20-cent one. It's like 25% blended, where Gulfstream is like 45% blended without a single ticket. All right, folks, it's been fun. We hope you
let's get some rooms here for you guys.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed the Bruno segment, and if you missed it, certainly go back and watch it. There's a lot of good information there in terms of his workout reports, how he looks at things, and just some good stories. So we'll have Bruno on again someday in the future. But the Bruno reports and the EE combination is a really good foundation, especially if you're new at the game. You can get a lot more info than trying to comb through PPs or things like that. Yeah. So
Bluegrass Dan, I did hear, and again, no attribution in terms of where the source came from, that Baffert rescinding, just accepting the DQ may lead to a last minute deal here.
Yeah, not going to happen. He's out this year. If he's a good boy, maybe next year.
I'm just telling you that's what they were talking about. I don't know that there were any actual sources on it.
Yeah, if there were, we would have heard from it by now. They're
Yeah.
not going to announce it on what is today?
The horses are at the
27,
gate.
48 hours.
It's post time for the 8th running of the Pegasus World Cup, presented
All
by
right, well, let's
Baccarat.
get lucky.
We go 1 mile and an eighth over the
Well,
Hallandale Beach Oval
I
for
think
$3
starting
million in
with getting
guaranteed
lucky
purse money.
is we need
Last year's
Hoist the Gold to
Preakness runner,
break well
National
and get to
Treasure,
the
is
lead
2 to
ahead of
1
National
favorite.
Treasure.
First Mission and the Godolphin Blue, the 5-2 second choice.
That's step one.
Both of them are already in the gate.
Let's go.
Nimitz class walking forward. Here's O'Connor, one of 2 in here.
Thanks, Chuck.
Luckily,
Appreciate
Bruce
all.
Happy Joseph Jr.
Appreciate you here. Appreciate Bluegrass Dan.
Grand
Thank you.
Aspen
And thank you
walking
for
forward.
the time you spend in the class
His
and
stablemate,
the
Dynamic
conversation on
One, stepping
Thursday.
forward into post number 3. Here's Il Miraculo. Hoist the Gold. Krupe walking forward in the St. Elias green colors. Here's Trademark. Won the Clark
Thanks,
handicap
Wiz.
at Churchill. 2 left to load, waiting for Senor Buscador. And from the
Get some
outside,
of these home for
Skippy
you guys.
Longstocking. Skippy Longstocking and Tyler Gaffleone to take the outside gate. They're in the gate.
Oop, somebody tried to go a little early.
And they're off in the 8th running of the Pegasus World Cup. It was a beautiful beginning, several riding for the early lead, including National Treasure. Down at the inside, Hoist the Gold tries to go with him, and these 2 flat fly. Gaffleone was intent on getting over on Skippy Longstocking. He had to use some speed to do it, but he's 3rd now. Trademark comes away 4th for Fernando de la Cruz, followed by First Mission, then Il Miraculo. A gap of 2.5 to Grand Aspen, who's racing ahead of the team of Nimitz class, and O'Connor. O'Connor's dropped better than 10 lengths off this big-time early battle. It's a gap of 2.5 to Dynamic One, then Senor Buscador. He has to love life. He's racing 11th, but he's a beneficiary of a big-time pace battle, and the trailer is Krupe. They whistled a quarter, 23-1 as they head down the backstretch. Hoist the Gold has won the tussle early with National Treasure, and he's 5 furlongs from home and 2 on top. National Treasure is now 2nd. Up in the center, it's Il Miraculo. Down at the inside goes Trademark. Working between them is First Mission. Underway from mid-flight, O'Connor's drawing closer in the orange colors. He's 2 better than Grand Aspen. Dropping back is Skippy Longstocking. Going by him is now moving up between horses Senor Buscador. He's had a lot of pace ahead of him. He's picking off horses one by one as they have less than 3 furlongs to go. Hoist the Gold has the lead. National Treasure takes another crack at him at the 5/16. There's still 3 better than O'Connor. Senor Buscador continues to run home. He ponders an inside lane with a 1/4 mile left to go. Still plenty of hopes here in the Pegasus World Cup. National Treasure has come away with the lead. Senor Buscador, he's still closing down the center. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go, and National Treasure with work to do. Senor Buscador takes aim on the outside. They come past the 8th pole. Jockey on the inside, it's still National Treasure holding on. Down the center, Senor Buscador, he's running out of time. National Treasure would not be denied.
Almost got
National
Justin's
Treasure wins
horse.
the Pegasus World Cup. Senor Buscador just ran out of racetrack.
I'll
3rd
take
is
my.
Krupe in 150-2.
I think it was $300 on the pick 4 there. I know Jotham, boom, boom, boom. I feel for Tony there. Cindy, boom. So close to the bomb. So there you go, guys. National Treasure can rate. $26 ticket, Jotham. Now I'm waiting to see how this pays. Cindy, boom. Couldn't have asked for anything more if you're Senior Buscador. You got the hot pace, you cut the corner, and didn't have to go wide. We move to the single
Number
at
7,
Anita.
National Treasure
I
was
might
first.
hang around while
Number
Chris
6,
checks out for
Senor
that.
Buscador, 2nd. Number 11, Krupe, third. Number 4, Hoist the Gold, fourth. Number
Cindy's was a
2,
$12
O'Connor ran
ticket.
fifth. 7, 6, 11, 4, 2. The winner, National Treasure, and Flavian Pratt.
It's all about the West Coast horses. All right, let's wait and see the prices here. So again, really happy for you, for everybody that hit there. Congratulations. I'm interested to see what Jotham's pick 6 pays. Justin's going to be bummed that Senior Buscador didn't quite get there, though. You're muted again.
Yeah.
That's his horse. All right. Another minute or two here. Hopefully we'll get some prices.
Thank you all for joining us today. One last time to hit the like button before we close this out. We certainly appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed the Bruno content. If you didn't get it, go back and check it out because there's some good stuff in there. But
yeah.
Appreciate everybody. We will be back tomorrow because we're almost certain this is going to be a carryover. I think there were...
Well, it's a National Treasure, I'm sure.
3 favorites in the sequence. So
yeah, I didn't realize that the next race for the cross country is until race 6. So we'll after we get the prices here and everything, we'll head out cross country coast to coast.
7, 6, 11.
Baffert has won this race more than any other trainer. Is that true? Well, if you want to consider the non-handicap, then it goes back many years.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think they're only...
This is the 3rd Pegasus World Cup success for winning trainer Bob Baffert. He won the inaugural running in 2017 with Arrogate. Came back a few years later to win it with Mucho Gusto. He wins here with National Treasure.
Tomorrow's show is 3:15. I'm sorry, 2:15 Eastern.
Yep.
2:15 Eastern now. We'll have Scotty, Justin, Chris, and myself. It'll be the whole crew. We'll get some insight on what's up with Scott E.
Result is official.
And what's going on with E from Scotty.
Live racing again tomorrow here in South Florida, 12:10 first race post time. Racing forms and programs. They're on sale now.
You can get tomorrow's
racing forms and
the
programs.
20-cent Rainbow Six tomorrow. That pool will be over $3 million. Enjoy that at any wagering locations network wide. It's a mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. The Pegasus World Cup party rolls on trackside at the Carousel Club. Gulfstream Park Casino open to serve you if you're in the mood for a little casino opportunity. We also have more horse racing action, racing from Santa Anita and Golden Gate in our Silk Simulcast Center. Here's National Treasure. National Treasure is a 4-year-old bay colt by Quality Road out of Treasure by Medaglia d'Oro. Bred in Kentucky by Peter Blum Thoroughbreds. Owned in partnership by Waves Edge Capital, Catherine Donovan, Jay Schoenfarber, Stone Street Stables, Robert Masterson,
Jay Schoenfarber
Racing, Mataket Stables, and SF Racing. Bob Baffert, the winning trainer, the winning jockey, Flavian Pratt. Flavian Pratt for a riding double today. 5-2 on National Treasure, the winner, the 2024 Pegasus World Cup.
All right, Oldie. So here's your payouts. The pick 6 paid $2,121.
Well,
Yeah. There was a $921,000 carryover. pick 5 paid 2,036. The pick 4 paid 346.
Well, booms all around to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It's YouTube. You don't use a tuner, but appreciate it, everybody. Appreciate you spending the time with us and spending your Saturday watching racing with us. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back tomorrow again, 2:15. Justin, myself, Chris, and special guest Scotty.
All right, folks. Have a good night. Get some
Thank
food and enjoy Turfway.
You.